Wow, what a Monday nighter. Chargers beat the Eagles. More good news coming the Niners' way. Dieter's in the house. Big Monday stream planned. Let's go. Off and running Monday night on the Krug Show. Hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Monday, December the 8th. And welcome to a land where the Eagles are in free fall mode. I could watch Jim Harbaugh shake hands with Nick Sirianni every day. There's just something smug about Harbaugh. You know, he's the last guy you want to shake hands with after he beats you.
Yep.
Sirianni normally is Captain Smug. So, you know,
those two deserve each other.
Yeah, I mean, those guys really do deserve each other. But welcome to the Krug Show. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. And yesterday we were at Pig and a Pickle in Corte Madera, and a bunch of you were there. So thanks to Damon and Mary, the owners of Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to all of you for coming out. Hope you enjoyed the Krug Show meet and greet. I know I did. It was a pleasure to meet many of you, if not all of you. And
hey.
But thanks to everybody for coming out, and it was really enjoyable. And thanks to Kev for all the work that he did, even though he was in Hawaii and wasn't there for it. So, but he did do a lot of work behind the scenes, ordering merch, which we gave away. And thanks to Anthony Catania, the owner of Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, for giving us the Ricky Pearsall mini autographed helmet to give away as our main prize. And it was just a good time had by all. So thanks to everybody who came out.
Good stuff.
Yeah. But now we come on after this Monday night game. We titled the stream, Why the 49ers Have a Real Chance to be the number one seed in the NFC. And do we need to go any further than the teams at the top of the conference, most notably the Eagles, seem to be in real free fall mode. The Eagles are the defending champs, Dieter. They were looking great. It wasn't that long ago. They were seemingly on top. And then all of a sudden, you know, things just started to come apart. And, you know, today they ran the ball well. They hadn't been running it well with Saquon Barkley. Tonight they did. 20 carries, 122 yards, 6.1 a carry, efficient and good volume, the whole deal.
Yeah.
But Jalen Hurts is not throwing the ball down the field. A.J. Brown shows only passing interest in really catching the ball. I mean, he had a one-hander on a pass today in the overtime. It's like, dude, this is overtime.
Imagine.
4 picks. He's not throwing the ball in the middle of the field that well. They don't have a strong offense. And then defensively, the Chargers ran for 169 yards tonight. Herbert himself ran for 66 of them. But, the Eagles have not been great at running it, stopping the run. Tonight they did a little bit better on that front, but they still wound up losing the game, and they fall to 8-5. So what does the Eagles' loss tonight mean in the grand scheme of things in the NFC?
Niners are one step closer because they do not control their own destiny for the 1 seed. They control their own destiny certainly to make the playoffs. They win one more game, they're in. It's maybe not a mathematical certainty, but we're not going to live in a universe where we find out what that 1% difference is. So if the Niners want to be the 1 seed, 3 things had to happen, in my estimation. Beyond the Niners just winning out, which has to happen, which is easier said than done, though you and I are both of the mindset, and certainly now that Phillip Rivers is showing up in Indianapolis, the Niners are going to be favored in every game from here on out.
Yeah.
So they should win every game, at least if you're asking Las Vegas and those fine offshore bookmakers. But if the Niners win every game, there were a couple other things that had to happen, one of which was the Eagles losing. The other one is the Packers have to lose a game, and then the Seahawks have to beat the Rams next Thursday. If all of those things happen and the Niners win out, the Niners are the 1 seed. It sounds both extremely complicated and also extremely plausible, given again.
So say that again, Dieter. Say it again for those in the back who missed it, and maybe even me a little bit. So
no worries.
Now with the Eagles losing, the Eagles go from what they were going to be 9-4. They're now
Eagles have 5. Eagles have 5 losses. The Niners currently have 4 losses.
Right.
So if we're operating on the premise of the Niners have to win out to get the 1 seed,
right?
Then obviously they're going to have they're going to be higher seeded than the Eagles. So that is one of the dominoes that had to fall because again the Niners aren't in control of their own destiny as it pertains to the 1 seed. They are in control of their own destiny as it goes with the division to a degree.
So they're behind still. Only
Right.
2 teams in the conference, the Packers and the Rams. So those teams have to lose at least once. If the
Right.
Niners win
And
out.
specifically, the Rams have to lose to the Seahawks in order to create a situation where if the Niners beat the Seahawks in week 18, that leapfrogs them. So I'm sure there's another scenario. I'm not going to pretend as if I ran 1,000 calculations or anything like that, but just going through for about an hour, kind of every permutation of NFC possibilities. The way that it came down for me is next Thursday, we're all Seahawks fans when they play the Rams, because that would give then the Seahawks the tiebreaker over the Rams, and the Niners would be in a position to we won't have to go deep into tiebreaker mode with the Rams if it was a tie on that end. So if the Seahawks take care of the Rams are third in the pecking order for winning the division in terms of their own control. So you're rooting for that. You need the Seahawks to beat the Rams next week, and then you need the Packers, who have 4 losses, to lose again, as to fall out of that 4-loss category, so that the Niners would be the only 4-loss team remaining when it's all said and done. Again, it's like, will it happen?
Let me ask you this question though, because I think, okay, so the Rams have to lose if the Niners win out, I think the Rams have to lose once. Green Bay's got to lose once.
Right.
But couldn't the Rams, Dieter, lose this week to Detroit and then win out the rest of the way? And couldn't Green Bay lose, Green Bay plays at Denver this week and then at Chicago next week.
Yeah.
If the Rams lose this week, let's just say at Denver, or at Detroit, and then let's say the Green Bay loses one of the next 2, either this week at Denver or next week at Chicago, and the Niners win out, the Niners are the 1 seed.
Well, I do think that we'd end up in a pretty long tiebreak that I'm not going to pretend like I know the difference. But the Rams and 49ers having split the season series, I think it would come down to what? To conference wins?
Conference record.
What's that stand at, Larry? Can you tell me?
Yeah. Right now, conference record, the Rams are 5-3 and the 49ers are 8-2.
Okay, so you don't even need the Thursday night win in that case, because again, the Niners would win out.
From what I understand, the Niners, if they win out now, that means they go 4-0 here. Right. The Rams lose any of their last 4 games, and Green Bay loses any of their last 4 games.
Right, Green Bay for sure. Yeah.
Then they're out. The other thing I heard was that the Niners could be the 2 seed or something like that if everybody loses this weekend. If the Rams lose to Detroit, Green Bay loses at Denver, and Seattle loses at home to Indy, I think the Niners move up, someone said, all the way to the number 1 or number 2 seed this weekend.
I mean, it depends on the Packers. I don't remember who the Packers play this week, but yeah, I ran that
at Denver.
Yeah, if everybody loses, the Niners hold the 1 seed as soon as they beat the Titans.
Wow. So
I mean, yeah. So I wrote this column last week, and everyone was like, "You're out of your mind." And then 5 days later, they're like, "Oh, this is going to happen, right?"
Well, it is interesting because, I mean, the last week or so was like, well, I mean, first of all, the gauntlet of the last 3 games, as we've gotten closer to it, doesn't look quite as gauntlet-esque.
Not even close.
It really doesn't, right? Because now you've got, is Indy going to play Riley Leonard, or is Indy going to go with Phillip Rivers? And if you're the 49er fan out there, who do you think Niner fans should be rooting for? Should be rooting for Riley Leonard, who's much more of a runaround guy than a thrower at this point, and he's very, very limited, or Rivers, who, when was the last game that Phillip Rivers played?
2 years ago.
So he didn't play in the 25 season. He didn't play in the 24 season. He played in the 23 season. Is that right? Or is he playing the 24 season?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So, I mean, my God. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, that's like almost never happened in my lifetime. I can't even, has it ever happened that a quarterback had not played in a couple of years?
And they're just going to throw him in there?
No, wait a second. No.
22? Was it 22?
No. Phillip Rivers last played in the NFL in 2020.
There's no fucking way that's true.
2020.
There's no.
He last
Phillip
played
Rivers
in the NFL.
Hasn't played since the pandemic.
in the NFL in 2020. It was lone season with the Colts when he threw
Jesus
for
Christ.
4,169 yards,
He's
24 touchdowns.
44 years old. He turned 44 years old today.
That was his 12th season in 2020.
How many kids has he had since then?
Maybe 12. He
Yeah.
didn't play in 21, 2, 3, 4, or 5. This guy hasn't played in 5 years.
You're wanting him. That's my answer, Larry. You want him. Riley Leonard, you and I, you were higher on Riley Leonard during the draft
I'm a
process.
Riley Leonard fan. I almost feel like this is going to burn me. Like
well,
Riley, like you talked up Riley Leonard so much, the absurdity of that. And then Riley Leonard's going to wind up beating the 49ers in some crazy way. I mean,
this is why you always pick the guys who go to the other conference, like Kamani Vidal. Though I guess the AFC is the Colts. I'm sorry, I am totally spinning from the fact that he hasn't played in 5 years and he's 44 years old. I mean, what's Jeff George doing right now? You think they can pull him out of retirement?
I mean, Jesus. You could probably they could probably go with. Didn't Cam Newton play more recently than that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
then again, don't ask me because apparently time has just melted. I had children and now I don't know anything.
I know. I got to look it up because I got to make sure.
I mean,
it's true. 2020, he was 39 with the Colts in 2020, and he had a pretty good year. He had 68%, 24 touchdowns, only 11 picks. That's not bad. I mean, that's really not a bad year.
They have Brett Rippon on their practice squad currently. I go to you for all practice squad intel. I mean, there's got to be a quarterback somewhere on a practice squad who's not 44 years old and hasn't played in 5 years that they could poach. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, and it's what also makes me laugh too is you'll get this, well, why did you do this obscure move? Well, we just wanted to maintain, the player's confidence. How's Riley Leonard's confidence going to be now? If you take a guy who's 45 years old with grandkids off the couch,
literally,
and say, you know what, we'd rather have this guy who hasn't played in 5 years than you, who went to camp with us, who's been in the meetings with us, who's been at practice with us, who's every time we've had a new wrinkle, a new this, a new that, you're in the quarterback room, you're learning it. But Phillip Rivers is going to come take your job. I mean, that you may never recover from that. I mean, if we really care about anybody's confidence, if they care at all about Riley Leonard's confidence, they would not do this. They would not do this at all.
No, it's pretty embarrassing, frankly, and I don't want to. Yeah,
it is embarrassing.
I know a lot of people with the Colts, and this is embarrassing. This is such a desperation move, and they've been making desperation move after desperation move. They got a little taste of the good stuff, and they got a little high on their own supply from their great start to the season, unquestionably great start to the season, because Shane Steichen's actually a good coach, and Lou Amarillo is actually a good defensive coordinator, and Chris Ballard is a good GM if you put some guardrails on them. And then they wide open AFC. You have to at least throw that out there. Wide open AFC, and they go, let's go for it. This is our year. And they go and they trade 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, who wasn't even the best cornerback on the Jets last year. So then that happens. He's immediately injured because, heaven forbid, he actually play football or try to tackle somebody. And then Daniel Jones breaks his leg. They have to put a plate in his leg. And get this, a compromised leg leads to an Achilles tear. Where have we heard that before besides every single athlete over the last 5 years in professional sports? The entire NBA is just riddled with calf injuries. This guy didn't have a calf injury. He had a whole leg injury. And then the Achilles tendon just exploded. I feel bad for Daniel Jones' contract year, and now they're in a weird spot because what do you do with him moving forward? But, I'm with you on the Riley Leonard thing. You drafted him. You kept him around. You have to roll with him. He could be. I don't think he is, but no one saw Brock Purdy coming in that regard. And I do think that Riley Leonard has shown a little bit of something every now and again. So at least in the preseason when I was able to see him, and he can move around, and I think he's a good processor. He doesn't have great arm strength, but neither does a lot of quarterbacks in this league. I'm not saying that they're going to get where they want to go. I think that their odds in Vegas to make the playoffs flip from minus 250 to plus 250 overnight. But how do you with a straight face bring in Phillip Rivers when there are a lot like go get I don't know. I'm just literally going through our lads right now and just seeing who's on a practice squad at quarterback. Every team has one. Like just go grab one of them. Like
Well, and it kind of makes you wonder if they really wanted to go for it. They maybe should have. They probably should have gone with a backup quarterback.
oh yeah.
I'll tell you what would have been a smart move in hindsight, by Indianapolis. Is call up the 49ers and say, hey, we'll give you our two tantalizing backup quarterbacks, Riley Leonard and Anthony Richardson, and we'll give you a day 2 pick, and you send Mac Jones over. And we'll have Mac Jones sitting behind Daniel Jones in case Daniel Jones goes down. Oh, Daniel Jones went down. Now we have Mac Jones. If they had Mac Jones, they got a shot. They'd
be in the exact same situation they were before Daniel Jones went down, which is not great, but in no way screwed. I just don't understand how like Bailey Zappi, who's on the Browns practice squad, can't get a call here. Like, and that's just picking a name out of a hat. But like, I've seen Bailey Zappi play in the NFL since the vaccinations came out. Like, what are we talking about? I've had 2 children. I mean, Phillip Rivers probably had, again, 12 children since 2020. I've had 2. I haven't slept in 5 years, so I missed the whole Phillip Rivers isn't playing anymore thing. But like, it's kind of funny, everybody in baseball is all up in arms about, oh, Tony Vitello got a job over all these great major league people. Like, how is every practice squad quarterback in the league feel right now being like, you called Phillip Rivers over me? Like it's again, they're just high on their own supply right now.
Who do you think
I feel bad.
Who do you think is the best practice squad quarterback out there?
I'm literally trying to figure that out right now.
Let me look at the Eagles, because I bet you the Eagles always have a pretty good practice
Let's
squad.
pull them up. I got them right here. They have Kyle McCord from Syracuse, formerly Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who would you rather go with, Kyle McCord or Phillip Rivers? 5 years into retirement.
I mean, the thing is, Sam Ehlinger is on the Broncos practice squad. Was he not with the Colts going into this season? How do you not call Sam Ehlinger? He was literally on your team for 2 years. He's free. Go get him. What are we doing? Sorry, I don't know. By the way, unbelievable news for the Niners. You either get Riley Leonard, confidence completely shot, or you get like Jordan Wizards era without the ability to put up 25 points in a game if he gets all those shots up.
Well, think about it, Dieter. Suddenly, first of all, the Niners
Magic Johnson.
They're 3-0 since Purdy came back.
Yep.
3 out of the 4 of these games are at home. The next game, I had a guy on tonight on Niners Nightly on KNBR, and when I was asking him about the Titans' chances, he's like, I'd be shocked if the Titans won this game. He's like, they got no shot. They won last week. They ain't going to win again. It's like he was like absolutely no shot. Okay, so Titans. I don't know about that either, but Titans at home, double-digit point spread.
Totally.
Absolutely.
They should win.
Should win that game. Now, then you're going to Indy, and it's Monday Night Football, and they're going up. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
You should win that.
Yes.
I don't think that's crazy.
No,
so
full stop, yeah.
Then really it comes down to the whole season comes down to national TV, Ben Johnson against Kyle Shanahan, the Bears and the Niners, that maybe the team that's been kind of the it team over the last 4 or 5 years in the Niners, and the it team of the future, possibly with the Bears. And I think that game's going to be it right there.
It'll be a fun game.
Then the final game. So that final game, we don't know what that final game is going to mean. There's a lot that has to happen between now and then. But
I think it will mean something to both the teams, either via seeding or like everything's on the line. Like it could be first seed on the line. Both of these teams are going for it. The division could very well be on the line. It could also just be as simple as like, who do you want to play? Like if you win this, you're the 5 seed as opposed to the 7 or the, I guess in this case, like the 2 or the 3, if you win it. Like I think it's pretty implausible that there's not something on the line to get both of these teams to show up with their A game.
Well, so that game is going to be really, really juicy. And when you look at that Chicago team, now the Niners are benefiting even a little bit more. Why? Because Rome Odunze is banged up, and he's not the same player that he was. Also, on the defensive side, Tariq Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, some of these guys are a little bit banged up, for the Bears. Now, the one thing I was expecting to see this weekend that I didn't see was I thought the Bears, with the way they were running it against the Eagles, would go up against Green Bay, and with their two-headed monster at running back and their interior line just blowing holes open left and right, I thought there was a very good chance that they could go to Lambeau and just run it down the throats of the Packers. And it really didn't happen. I mean, they had 32 carries for 138 yards, which is good, 4-3 a carry, but it's nothing crazy. And their offense did not dominate. And Green Bay with Jordan Love found a way to win that game. 3 touchdowns for Love. So that how do you see Niners Bears there in that matchup? Week 17?
Yeah, I mean, the main takeaway I had from Bears Packers, which I won't pretend to have watched every minute of that game, but from what I caught, I mean, Micah Parsons was an absolute menace, and the Niners can't put a Micah Parsons on the field. So that will be a big issue because Williams, if you do give him time, has the arm talent to make some pretty incredible throws. Now, he can also make the kind of throws that lose you a game, but he's getting better at preventing those throws and making the solid ones and checking down, getting to that third, fourth option. But he has a really hard time just staying in the pocket and delivering the ball on the money. And having great pass rushers, either if you're rushing them from the interior, as they did with Parsons a lot in that game, from what I could tell, or obviously just having them at end on contain, great pass rushers force you to make plays in the pocket. I know it sounds counterintuitive because you got a great pass rusher coming, you want to scramble out. But I thought the Packers did a really good job, and Jeff Hafley's as good as it gets as a defensive coordinator of putting Williams in positions where he just wasn't comfortable and kind of taking away his pet movements, a la, a basketball defense attacking a James Harden or a Luka Doncic. He wants to move one way. He can't really stop him if he gets to move that one way. If Caleb Williams gets to roll out to his right, he's money. He's absolute money. If he has to do anything other than that, it gets real wonky real fast. Again, it's better than it was, but it's still wonky. I just don't know how the Niners do that without a sellout. I do need to dive into that tape a little bit. I'm interested to see, and maybe you have insight on this, Larry, what the Packers did on their defensive front to limit the Bears' ability to really drive downfield. Because what the Bears do, I think, better than any team in the NFL this year is just push the line of scrimmage 3-4 yards forward on every single run play. They have I think it's the highest yards before contact for running backs in the NFL this year. And it doesn't matter if it's Swift or Monangai. They're not getting touched until they've already gotten a gain. And then everything from that point on is gravy. And both of those running backs are good enough to give you that kind of gravy. So I'm curious to what the Packers did, because again, in probably the 3/4 or 2/3 of the game that I watched, I didn't see that offensive line moving forward. I didn't see that kind of push. I guess the question for the 49ers going into that game, and this is a little bit over-centered on the Niners defense versus the Bears offense, because I just don't believe that the Bears defense is very good. But I also don't think the Niners defense is very good. They're very similar, all things considered. The question for me is, which one do you want to sell out if you're the Niners defense to stop? Do you want to stop the run game, or do you want to bring some extra blitzers to get Williams dancing a little bit? I know that in theory you can do both if you dial it up just right, but that's not really something you can do in practice, particularly when we're talking about third downs. So I'm very curious to see what the Niners do on that one, which poison they decide to take. I'd imagine that they sell out for the run and then let Williams maybe get some of those chunk yard plays, but know that Williams is the more volatile of the two options and that he might throw you the interception that the Niners are going to be looking for, because that's their new defensive formula. They can bend as much as they want. They just have to break you with a turnover or two every game to give their offense a chance to win. I think the Bears are paper tigers, in all honesty.
Really?
I think, their defense is. Have they given up more points than they've scored this year? They were the 1 seed going into this game. I mean,
I'll tell you who's helped them quite a bit is C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
He's a good player. He slid into the slot. He had an interception early in that game. He's a good player, but he's also
10
susceptible.
tackles. Yeah.
He's also susceptible. I mean, I don't like it when my defensive backs are leading the team in tackles. It's one thing if it's a box safety who's effectively a Sam linebacker, but you're telling me that your slot corner is leading your team in tackles. That tells me that you don't have very good gap discipline on your defensive front. And it tells me that the Packers felt no reason to abandon the stretch run game, which bears out when you actually watch the game. They were able to stretch run that bad boy all the way. And it wasn't big chunk plays a la Raheem Mostert in the NFC playoffs in 2020 or in 2019, but like they were getting 4 or 5 yards every time they stretched it to the left. And it really played into the hands of the Packers offensive line, which is more of a run first mauling operation than anything else. I don't think they're a very good offensive line, but you get them out in space a little bit, they will engulf you. I don't see much to worry about with the Bears defense. So it really comes down to a question of who do you think has the better offense, the Chicago Bears or the San Francisco 49ers? And I'll listen to an argument that it's close, but I'm going to take the quarterback and the head coach who have played in games. This is effectively a playoff game. Have played in games like this before, and not Ben Johnson, who, yeah, sure, he was the offensive coordinator of the Lions that one time they went deep in the playoffs and lost to the Niners. But like Caleb Williams, when was the last time Caleb Williams played in a big game in general? I don't remember a lot of big Oklahoma or USC games with him as the quarterback. Do you?
No, I mean, he played at SC and they played some big opponents, but he was always a touchdown favorite. He was always a, proverbial favorite. I mean, the Bears are an interesting team because, I think their receiving weapons are very, very enigmatic. I mean,
totally.
You catch DJ Moore on the right day, and he looks like one of the 5 or 6 best receivers in pro football.
Absolutely.
And you catch him on the wrong day, like this weekend, he had 1 catch for -4 yards. Yeah. So, I mean, he was a total non-factor, or he can take over the game. DeAndre Swift, kind of the same. I mean, he can have some major games. Loveland is a tremendous talent.
Yeah.
Luther Burden, you saw him at Missouri. I mean,
you want to talk about an enigma.
And he's coming on, though. I mean,
he's a good player. He's too physically talented to not be good. And he's starting to figure out that, like, oh, hey, I can't. This was his issue at Mizzou. He would float. He would float because he was so much better. Just get me the ball once or twice. He wanted it more than that, but just get him the ball once or twice. He'll score a touchdown on some 70-yard screen. He never had to learn to do the little things to help a team win because he was such a big prospect, a 5-star in a place that doesn't really get 5 stars all that often. I hate to talk about my Tigers that way, but it's the truth. And he never felt pressured to do anything that would have been out of his comfort zone. He was the Jonathan Kuminga, except there was nobody telling him that he had to set screens and rebound or do anything to break his game. Just go out there and be yourself. That's good enough for us. He gets to Ben Johnson, who perhaps more than any offensive coordinator in the NFL is a stickler for the details. I know Kyle loves the details, don't get me wrong, but he also lets it slide if you got a little bit of talent. Man, Ben Johnson, he'll get on your ass and bench your ass over you being, half a yard off in just your splits as a wide receiver, right? Like you have a pre-snap penalty, a formation penalty. You don't see the field for the rest of the game. Ben Johnson's all about that. This year for the Bears has been all about, from at least what I can tell from afar, and talking to my Bears friends, like this year is all about setting it up for next year where Burden might have a chance to be really good, but he's clearly picking up what Johnson is laying down. But to think that he's some sort of finished product who can affect winning on, maybe on any given Sunday, but consistently, I don't know. So, they got weapons. Don't get me wrong. They got weapons. I'm not saying the Bears are a bad team by any stretch. The Niners can get absolutely boat raced in this game. But if we're talking about tight margins, I'm going to take Brock Purdy over Caleb Williams. I don't care how talented Caleb Williams is. There's a lot of talented quarterbacks who haven't won jack squat. And until Caleb Williams goes out there and wins something beyond the Notre Dame game in year 2 of his career, which is pretty much the only big game I can see him winning on his college depth chart, including, 3 straight losses to end his senior year and 5 out of the last 6. Until I see Caleb Williams do it, I'm not going to bet on it because he still has really questionable footwork. He still doesn't see the field as well as I would like anybody to, much less somebody with that kind of arm talent. Like, I don't think he's there. And I think he might get there because Ben Johnson's in his ear and coaching him up, and it's better than it was, but that doesn't mean it's ready to play in prime time, December 28th, Sunday Night Football against a team that's going for the 1 seed, even with all their injuries, even with all their detriments, a team that should and just justifiably has a lot of confidence right now, because every team now in the NFL is in survival mode, right? We are in the true Machiavellian ends justify the means portion of the calendar. Calendar turns to December and style points no longer matter. Just get the win. If you got to run it 50 times, run it 50 times. You got to pass it 50, whatever it takes to win, get the win. Do the Chicago Bears have that kind of resiliency and toughness? Maybe, but they've never had to show it for my entire adult life. So, and Ben Johnson, I don't know what he is as a head coach. Certainly don't know if Caleb Williams has it in him. I don't think that this defense is good enough to carry them on any given night. So it just comes down to coaching and quarterbacks so often. And I'm going to take the Niners every single time in that matchup. Now, we can have a conversation about other teams like the Rams or the Seahawks or even the Packers. But when it comes to the Chicago Bears, yeah, they can win. Unquestionably, they can win. But I'm gonna bet on the Niners to win that, because they know what it takes, and they've been acting accordingly. They've been surviving since week 2. This team is battle tested. That might not be good enough to get them to the Super Bowl, but if it comes down to brass tacks and both teams are tight enough that they could make a lump of coal into a diamond by the end of the fourth quarter, I'm gonna take the Niners, because they know what that feeling is like, and the Bears just simply have not felt that yet.
You know, you say Chicago Bears, you put those uniforms on them, you make reference to the monsters of the Midway, and you just start looking at them as a defensive team that of note, because they do look scary, especially in that cold weather, and when they're winning games, and they're winning games right now. They're 9 they're 9-4, they're winning games now. This game against Green Bay, though, they had 1 sack, and they had that one sack was their only hit on the quarterback the entire night, the entire afternoon. Montez Sweat got 1 hit on the quarterback. That was all they had on the quarterback all day.
Yeah. It's a good sack, to be fair.
And Love made some beautiful pass plays, for sure. And Christian Watson played hot, or is definitely getting hot. But here's the one thing that nobody talks about with the Bears. You can run the hell on the Bears.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is what's happened to the Bears in the last 8 or 9 games. Okay. They just lost to Green Bay. They gave up 4 or 5 a carry.
Yep.
Nothing crazy, but 4 or 5 a carry.
No, but it was whatever they wanted on the ground. They could consistently push the ball forward. It wasn't flashy. They played a lot of too high. Green Bay's not meant to get those big chunk plays with their personnel, but anytime they ran wide zone left or stretch left, it was 5 yards, guaranteed. Didn't matter what the down and distance was, 5 yards, guaranteed. That's December football when it's 14 degrees outside to me, and the Bears couldn't stop that play. That's fundamental.
But I mean, I think if you're the 49ers, you got a clear game plan against the Bears. Listen to these numbers. So Green Bay ran for 4 or 5 a carry. The week before, Philadelphia ran for 5-1 a carry.
Yeah.
The week before that, the Steelers ran for 5-2 a carry. The week before that, the lowly Minnesota Vikings ran for 5-2 a carry. The week before that, the crappy New York Giants ran for 5-6 a carry.
Yeah.
The 2 weeks before that, Baltimore ran for 5-1 a carry.
Yeah.
I mean, you give up 5 yards a carry in a football game, that's bad. I just read you 5 examples in the last 6 games or 7 games of the Bears defense doing that. So they're not putting heat on the quarterback. They're not hitting the quarterback, and they're really not stopping the run. I think the 49ers can possess the hell out of the football against the Bears and run McCaffrey at them all night long. Now, the Bears are a great bully team, and there are examples where Monangi ran for 130. Monangi ran for 176. Against New Orleans early in the year, Swift ran for 124. The Bears committed to running it 40 times. They were not balanced that day. They were 40 runs, 20 passes, or
whatever
it was.
They can scheme the hell out of it, for sure.
Right. So if the Bears start running it on you, sadistic, Ben Johnson's going to keep running it, and he's going to take away your manhood. But if the Niners can stop the run and establish their own run game, I think the numbers in the last 2 months say they can run the ball with success at Chicago, and I expect them to do that. So, I mean, think about this. This is starting to look more favorable. You got a Bears team you can run on. You got a Colts team that doesn't have a quarterback. You got a Titans team that's got 2 wins all year, and then you got Sam Darnold waiting for you at the end of the year. And Purdy's had a lot of success against Seattle. I think running the table is very viable for the 49ers. I know that seemed like, what? No way.
No, I'm with you.
People made that made the final 3 games sound like it was just going to be the gauntlet of gauntlets. But as we're approaching, the odds makers are telling us the Niners are the better team in all these games, but our eyes are also telling you that the Niners may have a clear route to victory in these contests.
Yeah, I mean, it will come down to which quarterback can attack their safeties, because I still have serious questions. And I think that, Cam Ward, by the way, might be one of these quarterbacks. I don't think he has the receiving core, but he really can sling that thing, and he's played really well as of late. I still have questions about the safeties getting over the top. They play 2 strong safeties in Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa, and they're awesome when they can both come down and pop you in the run. But if you can throw it deep, which Jacoby Brissett could do it, but the game was over by the time he started. Bryce Young sure as hell can't. Shedeur Sanders couldn't, and I'm not sure if he can, but he certainly didn't. I don't think they've been tested in that way. I think that's where people will attack, and I think that's what the Rams did when they came and absolutely kicked the tires off of the Niners at Levi's Stadium. So that's going to be the game plan for anybody coming in. Obviously, the Niners have 4 fewer sacks than Myles Garrett alone this year. That's probably not ideal for maybe evening up things. Like, this Niners defense could be the reason they go 2-2 down the stretch, right? But again, if they can play up,
it's not a good D.
It's not. But if they can play up, and Robert Saleh has schemed the bejesus out of this thing, if he brings his A game for the Final Four, the defense can play well enough to give this offense, which we'll see if it does, should have the firepower and certainly has the personnel in place to put up 4 touchdowns a game. That should be enough. You get 1 turnover from your defense, no matter what else happens, and 4 touchdowns from your offense, you're winning all of these games. Now, Seattle is going to be really hard to get 4 touchdowns against for your offense. The Bears won't be as much, but it might be really hard to get that turnover. It might be really hard to hold them shy of 4 touchdowns. If the Colts are playing Phillip Rivers or Riley Leonard, you better get some turnovers. And the Titans, listen, I'm not sleeping on the Titans. I'm not sure if the Niners cover, but Jeffrey Simmons is one hell of a player, and they got some dudes now. And I think Ward has really come along, and I think he's playing a really sharp game these days, but they don't have the personnel. I mean, they're just woefully undermanned. The Niners beat them at every single position, save for starting defensive tackles right now. So, and coming in rested, coming in and playing a home game, middle of the afternoon, Fox, no one's paying attention. Like, this should be a game that you beat the tires off of them, really feel yourself, get some momentum going into this Monday night game. Like, again, I don't think that they will, just because Seattle and the Bears are 2 something close to toss-up games for me. So if they're both toss-ups, maybe they lose one of them. But they're getting 10 wins. That's happening. So they're in the playoffs. And now it's a question of how high of a seed can they get. And it is not at all ridiculous to think that the Niners can win out. It's not at all ridiculous to think that they can get to 3-1. And it's not at all ridiculous to think that they'll be sitting pretty in the playoffs if they just do what they're supposed to do, if they can just take care of business. And there are a few teams in the NFL, if any, that I trust to take care of business more than the San Francisco 49ers right now, because that's all they've been doing since week 2. If they win, it's because they take care of business. It's not style points. It's not this macro thing. Every week is its own thing. They lock in. They play hard. They play physical. They don't have the personnel on defense to do anything but play December football right now. Their offense has the kind of playmakers that know what December football is like and can play with that physicality as well. I think the offensive line has played a hell of a lot better, and that is coming off of games where there's good defensive lines. They have good defensive lines in Carolina. They have a great defensive line with the Browns. Like, the offensive line played pretty good against the Rams, all things considered, and they have a really good defensive line. Like, the offensive line is coming around. Like, again, if you're just looking for a team that maybe if we view it from 4 games, it looks a little more daunting, even though it's far less daunting than it used to. But let's just break it down to one game after one game. You can't tell me, even if you're the most cynical person about the Niners, which maybe I'm speaking as that person, you can't tell me that they can't win all 4 of these games and that whatever happens with the Packers, whatever happens with the Rams, that they can't end up as the 1 seed, in which case the road to Santa Clara goes through Santa Clara.
Wow. Wouldn't that be something?
And we were talking about this last week, right? Like, this season feels very up in the air, right? No, there's no juggernaut. There's no Chiefs. Maybe the Bills, but the Bills
Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, who we thought were the cream of the class, collectively may all miss the playoffs.
Right. So there's no juggernaut, right? And maybe the Packers want to turn into that. I think they have the talent to, but then you're still betting on Jordan Love. I think Seattle's defense has the ability to be the best in the league, but now you're betting on Sam Darnold. The Rams are just too banged up in too many spots. They're just kind of a weird team right now. Maybe they figure that all out and they turn it on. But every team comes in with a pretty significant caveat right now. We're talking about, the team with the best record in football being the Patriots. Do we even know if the Patriots are all that good? Like, they're clearly good enough to win a bunch of games, but like, are we talking about the Patriots like winning the Super Bowl here? Maybe getting there in the AFC, but like winning? I mean, come on now. So there's no clear juggernaut. There's no clear team to beat in either conference. And in that, like, is it so ridiculous to compare this to the 2020 season where the Rams won the Super Bowl and, by the way, hosted it? Like, it feels like we're kind of repeating history. Thank goodness 2025 is a lot different than 2020, 2021. But, like, it does feel like because nobody's there, maybe the team that understands what these situations are most like, maybe these teams that are battle-tested will break through, and they'll end up against some team that, oh, damn, we're in the Super Bowl? Shit, we never thought we'd get this far, and we'll see what happens there. But I, as someone who has said repeatedly since, probably March, this team isn't going to the Super Bowl, I'm eating a shit ton of crow right now because it's right there for them if they want it.
Let's flip this around for just a second and make this college football.
Sure.
Okay. Let's just say these were college teams and we were trying to debate strength of schedule and all that. The early reports on the Niners schedule was that it was easy. But I had a stat today that I saw that shows that the 49ers schedule rated by DVOA of the teams this year makes their schedule the 4th hardest schedule in pro football. So a lot of those numbers I think are really interesting. But then when I say let's do it like college, here's the Niners losses. They lost to Jacksonville. They lost to Tampa. They lost to the Rams, and they lost to the Texans, who have a really good defense.
It's an impressive slate of losses.
Right. Here's the Rams losses by comparison.
By the way, how well did that work out for Notre Dame in their argument? Hey, we had the best losses.
Yeah, exactly. The Rams lost to Philly.
Yep.
The Rams lost to the Niners in overtime.
Right.
The Rams also lost to Carolina. So the Rams had a dud. They had a oh my God, Alabama lost to Mercer or something. They had a bad one. Seattle, look at Seattle's year. If you look at Seattle's year, you say, well, wait a second. How about Seattle? Who did they lose to? Seattle lost to the Niners at home week 1. Right. They lost to Tampa in a shootout, 38-35. And other than that, they lost by 2 to the Rams in LA.
Yeah.
They really haven't lost anybody. I mean, no. For the most part.
I'll say this.
What other team? But then you look at
the
Bears.
No, but the Bears.
The Bears lost at Minnesota. They lost to Detroit. They lost at Baltimore, and they lost at Green Bay.
Right. So, but they also have a negative point differential. And then you look at the Packers, which lost is amazing. To the Browns.
How many teams are 9 wins and have a negative point differential?
Teams that finished 4th in their division. I'll flip that. I'll flip your flip onto another flip. Who have the Niners beat? They beat the Rams. They beat the Seahawks. The last great win that they had, the last one that feels like it carries some serious heft, was Week 5. That Thursday night football.
The Niners
game.
Beat the Seahawks in Seattle, the Rams in LA.
Yeah, but that was September 7th, October 2nd.
And then the next most impressive win, I would say, is probably Atlanta.
Yeah, well, Atlanta's firing their head coach. So
Well, I
I
mean,
think the Niners
wouldn't
have
you?
played 4 teams that are going to fire their head coach at the end of the year, which says something about the Niners and the competition they've played.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the other thing. That was the other wrinkle in this. Are the 49ers getting it together, or are Arizona and Carolina and Cleveland just dog meat? And the
I have
49ers are still very much the team that the Rams hung 42 on them.
I have no fucking idea what Carolina is. Because I watched them on tape, I thought they sucked. I watched them on Monday Night Football when they played the Niners, and I thought they sucked even harder. And then they go out and they beat the Rams, and they put up like a 30-0 on Atlanta. And maybe we just exclude the NFC South from all conversations because it's a vortex of weird. It's the Bermuda Triangle of sanity. But again,
Watching Mahomes throw 3 picks against this Houston defense sure makes that Mac Jones 2 touchdown, 1 pick,
yeah.
19 of 32 game against Houston look all that much better, huh?
I don't think that anybody at the end of that game felt bad. I think that might have been the game that knocked it was either Tampa or the Texans game that knocked them out of the division lead. It might have been both, but you watch that game and you're like, yeah, this team ain't competing with that Texans defense. I mean, that Texans defense flies, and that's going to be the real interesting part. Because, okay, let's just go back
They're
to
the
these
wild
final
card team in the AFC.
Yeah, no, they might be the team to beat in the AFC.
That's what I mean. I don't mean wild card. I just mean they're like a wild card factor. Yeah,
yeah, like they're unquestionably have an elite unit. I'm not sure I can say that about a lot of other teams in the AFC, like a truly elite unit.
right.
I mean, the Browns game was somewhat impressive because I thought that defense was really good, and then they let their hands off the steering wheel against the Titans last week, which credit to the Titans, but come on now. It brings us back to these final 4 games. Okay, Tennessee and the Colts, take those for what they are. The Niners should win, even going on the road Monday Night Football. Again, Phillip Rivers, 2020. But now you get, and I'll be fair to this one. The Bears do have, at least at their highest gear, an elite offense. Like, they can turn it on as well as anybody on offense. And they're certainly as scheme sound as any team in the NFL on offense.
Great play caller, awesome weapons.
Awesome. Yeah,
quarterback is a little bit of the quarterback doesn't really see it. I mean, if you look at their stats, Caleb Williams for the year is completing 57% of his passes.
I'm with you. But if on their best day, they can play with anybody or they can stack up with any offense in the NFL. They have that high gear. So you're getting that test late. If you win that game, that's a good win. Like, so now you got 3 now, and one that's happened since October 2nd. So that tells you something. And then you might get the best defense in the NFL. You've played the Browns. You did very well against the Browns. Credit to them. You played the Texans. That did not go so well. Credit to the Texans. That's a great defense. Those are the 2 best defenses you've seen. Week 1, Seattle was a weird one. Still a great defense, don't get me wrong, but Emanwari goes out early. They were still figuring out their personnel a lot. They've locked in. There's no question that the Seahawks defense has locked in, and them operating at their highest capacity, no one's touching. No one's touching. Not even Cleveland, who I have extolled the virtues of repeatedly. No one's touching them. I don't think Houston's touching them. I don't think Cleveland's touching them. Certainly the Rams aren't touching them. That is 2 unbelievable tests going into the playoffs with the Bears offense and then the Seahawks defense. You put them together, that's your Super Bowl favorite. But in the meantime, you're going to have the night. Like, when I worked nationally at Fox, I tried to be 2 weeks ahead. I thought it was ridiculous, this constant knee-jerk reaction stuff. Just try to be 2 weeks ahead. What's going to happen in 2 weeks? And let's set us all up to be prepared for these inevitabilities. In 2 weeks, the Niners could start a slate where they get, they've won 2 games. They then get the Bears. They win that one. Now we're 3 weeks ahead from today. They beat the Bears. Now they go in and play the Seahawks. Who knows what's on the line? It could be everything. It could be just, a couple of seeds. But if they go into the playoffs having beaten the Bears and the Seahawks back to back, like, you want to talk about battle tested. They might have the seed to go along with it, but who the hell is going to want to play the 49ers? That will be the hottest team in football, the buzziest team in football. And suddenly all this belly aching that I did all year and all this ignoring that the national media has done all year because they just couldn't be bothered to watch a team that doesn't have Fred Warner and Nick Bosa on it, or Brandon Ayuk. even as the Niners continuously win and continuously just get the job done to the point of being 9-4 now, everyone's going to be on the bandwagon if this team wins out, because those final two games are extreme tests of both of their main units. And again, they should be favored to win both of them when it's all said and done. Peak late. That's the only answer. Get yourself in a position where if you peak late, no one's going to want to play you, and that's what the Niners might have done. And if you want to talk about Kyle Shanahan being a bad head coach, the door is to the right.
Yeah,
I know you would never, but like, holy shit. Like, what an unbelievable job by him and Saleh and Brant Boyer and John Lynch. I mean, as much as we bemoan John Lynch, and I don't think that we should take anything back from that, unbelievable work to put the Niners in this position given the circumstances. Now they got to take care of business.
By the way, everybody hit like and subscribe.
Yes,
we got a bunch of people watching, and if you could just take a second and hit like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate that. I've used this stat a few times, so if I forgive me to the people who have watched every single video that I do and every single live stream if you've heard this, but the Niners are 44-19 after the bye week under Shanahan. 10-3-19, 8-4-21, 9-0-22. And in 23, they went 7-3. There's obviously, I'm going to ask him about it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, why? You know, why are your teams consistently so good after the bye week? And I don't know that we know the answer to that, but there is something interesting as far as there's always you can look at these things and it's very two-dimensional, but when you really factor in the way this could go, this season could really finish with an emotional crescendo in the regular season. Here's what I'm talking about. Niners can be favored in the next 3 games. Okay, let's just say they hold serve and they win all 3.
Sure.
If LA loses to either Detroit or Seattle, if Green Bay loses to either Denver or Chicago, that sets up Week 18 49ers Seahawks for the number 1 seed in the NFC. The winner
and the division.
And
where have we heard this before?
The division title, but it's also the number 1 seed.
Right.
And the only team that will have a first round bye. So
Correct.
if the Niners are able to beat Seattle at home, they're going to be doing it for a vacation week and with an older team, with somebody who's been there and done it, taking away one more game, playing one fewer game, having the road to the whole thing roll through your stadium. That could be absolutely huge. That, and Shanahan's going to sell that to his team as this is the beginning of the playoffs, even though, even if you lose, you're still moving on.
Oh yeah.
But
100%.
The Niners at that point, the 49ers could be 4 straight home wins away from a Super Bowl title.
Yes. I still can't get myself all the way there, even though I see the path and it's clear. There's no fallen tree branches or traffic in the way. I can see it. And even then I'm like, what the hell just happened? I'll say this too. The 2 times that the Niners have been to the Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan, they have lost that 3rd game. They do not. They'll give you 2. I don't know if they'll give you the 3rd. Maybe this year they do, but they have required home field advantage and a first round bye to get to the Super Bowl the 2 times they've been. When they've had to go through the gauntlet, they always stumble on that 3rd one. So something to keep in mind. Obviously different team, obviously different circumstances, all these things, but it's that 3rd game. And kind of going back real fast, I'm sure Kyle will say something vaguely like this, but we, in July and August, September, and certainly this year, maybe more than any since 2021, we've bemoaned the physicality that this team likes to play with in training camp and stuff. But come December, those calluses are really important because, again, the game tightens up. And Shanahan, after buys, they do unbelievable quality control work. Really good stuff. They simplify things. They get down to brass tacks. They're a run-first team naturally, which lends itself to this time of the year. And their physicality, I'm not sure if this year it's going to be up to scruff because of all the injuries, but their physicality overwhelms teams when every possession matters. And this is why them and the Eagles have been such good rivals over the last few years because the Eagles were the second most or maybe even the most physical team in the NFC all of those years. And sometimes the Rams are just hot and they beat you or whatever, but the Rams aren't going to out-physical you. They're not going to be stronger and tougher and meaner. They might have better players. They might get through on a game. But when it just toe-to-toe, who's the meaner, badder sons of bitches, the San Francisco 49ers are that team. Now, again, talent-wise, mixed with that physicality, I'm not sure if the calculus is going to be there for this team this year. And there's a lot of good teams, obviously, coming up, especially come playoff time. But the combination of the physicality that this team demands from the summer onwards, they're not having to ramp up. They've well practiced at this. The run-first mentality that a lot of times they're running Christian McCaffrey into the back of the goddamn offensive line, and you're like, why are they doing that? Well, having those reps pays off because they're not going to have to find their run game late, and they're not going to get discouraged by a bad run game because they've had quite a few of those this year, and they've still found ways to win. And then, again, the quality control stuff that Shanahan does during the bye week, and Saleh has done during the bye weeks in their tenure together, and Shanahan specifically throughout his tenure, is really exceptional stuff. And I find that they really cut out a lot of the fun, cool, quirky stuff. And again, just get down to what's working, what isn't, and let's cut out all the other stuff that we're working on for later on. Let's get down to brass tacks. I don't think anybody does that as well as Kyle Shanahan in the NFL right now.
Let's get down to brass tacks on this show. The 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit for up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. Now, we're doing something a little different tonight, is that we're going to look for somebody out of the chat to make
people's
a
pick
selection. That's right, a people's pick. So chat, don't let us down. Do not let us down. Money is on the table. Do not let us down, chat. All right, so
they're going to let us down so hard, Larry.
I know. We're not.
It's okay.
We're
better
than
than me.
We're going to go with probably the first one that pops up, but we'll see.
Great.
We'll see. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. Niners, Titans. Who do you want to go with? Tony Pollard's coming off of his career best day.
That is a very enticing place to go. Let's go there, in fact.
All right, let's go Tony Pollard. So you have Pollard on a number of ones here. You got a rushing and receiving. Or is that rushing?
That's 40 and a half rushing yards. He's coming off a 161 game on a 6.4 carry. By the way, the week before that, he was going for 6 a carry as well. So I like the more there.
Yeah, I like more there too. The 49ers give up some rush yards.
Unquestionably.
They give up some rush yards for sure. So there you go. Let's see McCaffrey. See what the numbers are on CMC. Okay, so 123 all-purpose. We got 75 rush yards, 46 receiving yards. Longest.
That's a really tough one.
Yeah, longest. You like the longest run? You like the longest reception?
I would go longest reception. I don't like the way that Tennessee tackles in the secondary. They just miss a lot of tackles in general. But rush, it's harder to imagine multiple broken tackles just because they might get out into space well, but it's a lot easier to be out in space on a little swing pass. So if we wanted to go McCaffrey, I'd go more on the 16 and a half longest reception.
Yeah, I like that. He
just
could be
running up the sideline there,
He could be good for a little 20-yard pass, and that could be that could come either way. That could come, in any kind of a game.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Brock Purdy.
Let's do it. My goodness, that's a lot of passing yards.
Brock Purdy, 242 and a half passing yards. Wow. Longest completion, 35 and a half yards. I would say less than 35 and a half yards.
I'm wondering if they know something we don't know.
That they think they're going up top. Well,
I guess you could. Shedeur did. Shedeur can do it. Brock Purdy can.
There's definitely injuries in that secondary. They're not going with their top secondary.
No. No.
You want to go more than 36 and a half?
I think we follow our gut here. I think you're right. And again, I don't think that the Niners are too keen to play for style points or these big things. We get burned, we get burned. But I think that I think that the big air it out down the field, let's be the gunslinger thing. I think that's Brock saving that for down the line if it comes back at all. I think that he's going to be more reserved, more calm, a little more Mac Jonesy in the here and now, with the separation between him and Jones, of course, being his ability to scramble. But I do think that he was a little fast and loose when he came back from injury twice. Maybe coming off the bye, that good quality control says, hey, let's just take 15-yard gains all day. Let's just do that.
We'll go less on that one. We'll go less on the 30. Was it 36 and a half?
35 and a half, I think. Yeah.
Let's go less on the
It was
30.
a lot. Yeah.
I think it was 36. Pretty reception. 30 or 35 and a half. Yeah. So we'll go less there.
But my God, this Titans secondary is a tough.
All right,
it's a tough sell. I don't want to change it, but my goodness, I'm just looking at their depth chart right now, and
let's go into the chat and see what we got.
That's our weak
here.
link.
Who in the chat would like to be part of this?
Come on now, chat.
Who do we got?
Give us the silent count.
Got guys saying sounds good. Who wants to get in here and make a pick?
Ooh, Kawachito. He's a friend of the program.
Wait a second. Maybe I'm not. Where did I not see? Oh, there we go.
He's in the bottom left.
Okay, so can we go with Pearsall plus 100 yards? No way he's going for 100 yards.
Well, we'll see what the number is, and we're going to go more. That's
Okay.
what we're going to do on Pearsall.
There's no way it's 100 yards. Okay, so Pearsall. Let's take a look at Pearsall. Would they have Pearsall, or is he not produced enough to be on?
You tell me. You're the sleeper, man.
They don't have Pearsall.
Well, that's silly. Richard Pearsall, not on the list. Got it.
They don't have Pearsall. They have Purdy, Joey Sly, Cam Ward, Brock Purdy.
Which one of you sickos wants to put something down on a Joey Sly prop?
Or Van Jefferson.
Oh my goodness. Kittle 2 TDs. There, okay. Well, you can't do Kittle. He's blocked out for some reason.
Well, don't we have to have one well, we got one. We got Pollard.
I don't understand. Again,
all right. We need a guy. I know. We need another pick here. We need another pick. So either go with Kittle or go with
Kittle's
Cam Ward.
Okay, DK.
Kittle or
some Shamari DK. Go with Chigaquanu. He's a good player.
The tight end.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Okay, we'll go with Kittle. We'll put Kittle on the boards. We'll give somebody, and then we'll see what people have to
figure out how the hell that's going to work, Larry. I'll wait.
Okay. All we have for Kittle is 19 and a half longest reception.
Somehow we backdoored our way into something that makes a lot of sense to me.
You like more on that?
Well, I'm just going to quickly tell you who the linebackers are for the 3-4 front that is the Tennessee Titans. It's Cody Barton, Jihad Ward, and
Jihad Ward's like 290 pounds.
Yeah, it's a tough scene. And then Cedric Gray, who I kind of liked. Cedric Gray was what, Texas A&M?
No, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, I didn't like him.
UNC.
That was weird. Yeah, it's
he had like a bunch of tackles last week. I don't know how many.
Yeah, well,
double digits.
How many points did they give up? Cody Barton, Cedric Gray. I don't think they're covering Kittle. Just throwing that out there.
All right. Well, let's see. Let me see what the chat says.
But I'm sure Amani Hooker will though.
I'm looking for a pick from the chat. Wait. We got this one from Ruben. He says yes, Kittle.
Okay, Ruben. We're locking it in. This is now your responsibility.
This is your now responsibility. We're going with Ruben's pick.
But look at that sweet trend line. He's done it. He's gone over that number in the last 3 games. Let's make it 4.
Let's do it. Ruben says go with Kittle. So we'll go more on Kittle for 19 and a half. So there we go. $5. We've got Tony Pollard, more than 40 and a half rush yards. We have CMC. Longest reception has to be at least 17 yards. Kittle's longest reception has to be 20 yards, and Purdy his longest completion has to be less than 36 yards. If all those things happen, Our $5 turns into $49
Goodness
and
gracious.
30 cents. Big thanks to Sleeper. Remember, use code Larry for 100% deposit match up to $100. Links right in the description. Terms apply. Help support the show and gets you rolling on the #1 sports app. We're loving Sleeper. It's a ton of fun. Thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right. Awesome. Thank you to
The people's
Sleeper.
pick.
Thank you to Sleeper for being an outstanding sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, couple things that I want to get to. Man, the most tired topic in Ninerland by far,
Lay this on me.
far,
Let me have it.
is this JJ, what did you say to Shelby Harris? Shelby, what did Shelby say?
Everyone wants to be Bravo. Everyone wants to
I
be Andy
don't-
Cohen.
I don't care if this guy MF'd his great-great-grandmother. I don't care. And neither does Shanahan. And this whole, like, these guys are out there to kill each other.
Yeah.
And if one guy says something that we're going to sit there and then, from our Tandy 5000, we're going to sit there at, in the sanctity of our den, we're sitting there in our snuggie, we're not seeing anybody. We're not on the field. We're not sweating. We're not in the middle of a play. But we're going to evaluate. I'm going to evaluate if JJ went too far. Did you go too far? And then, like, the way he looked at the media today as they're asking these questions, and I respect some of the people that ask these questions, but my God, what are we doing here, guys?
I'm curious as to what he said. I'm also not dumb enough to think he'll say it again. I want to know
why do
what
we care? Why is it a big deal? Why? I mean,
sells.
I know, but I mean, it's like, so what if he said something truly heinous? So what?
Yeah.
There's people right now locked in dungeons in bottom of basements who can't get out, who, there's heinous things being done to people as we speak. We're really going to lose our mind over pro football players who are making millions and millions of dollars who elect to utter, crude and rude barbs at one another.
Yes.
I don't care. Nobody else should either.
No one
Why
should
does
care.
it matter? It does not affect me. These guys are hitting the crap out of each other.
Yes.
They're risking paralysis on every
Yes.
snap. Let's worry about what people do in this world and not what they say.
Okay, that's some incredible whataboutism. Here's the difference. Here's the incredible difference. He said something that was somehow so bad on a football field.
We don't know that, though. We don't really know that.
Okay, it's been alleged
by Shelby Harris
and a lot of other Browns. I mean, Myles Garrett, who's about as straight of a shooter as there is.
Has anybody even referenced what was said or how or what? No. So I mean, what are we talking about? So what if he said
know what he said.
Is there anything that he could have said? Honestly, be honest.
No,
is there anything that he could have said that you think should cost him money?
No.
Or his job?
No.
Or his rep?
No.
Then what are we doing? What are we doing?
His rep could, but also I have a very high threshold for that. I'm not sure I want to find out what he said so that at least I can, we can entertain the idea of like, whoa, that's beyond the line. I want to know what he said. These guys were really taken back. And again, maybe the Browns don't get a lot of trash talk because they just get their ass kicked every week. But like, they were feeling some type of way about whatever he said. I just got to know what it is because apparently it's an all-time great bit of trash talk. And I peddle in that stuff as someone who's covered Draymond Green for a number of years.
I don't know, man.
I want to know what he said. He'll never say it. I won't find out.
He said it wasn't that bad. I mean,
well,
that's what he wanted to say today.
That's it. He's grading on his curve. And I've heard, listen.
What's the worst it could be?
I'm not going to say it. You don't want to get demonetized.
No, but I'm just saying, I mean, realistically, how
no
bad
idea.
could it be?
I can't put myself in that mind frame, but I will put it to you. I will say a couple of things. Juwan Jennings is a known
agitator.
Yes, let's put it that way. He's also known to be a bit off the wall. in terms of, there's a lot of agitators out there, MF and this and that. Like a Max Crosby's a great agitator, right? He's talking some mad smack. But Juwan Jennings is a different kind of cat. So I'm just interested in like where his Andre 3000 mind went. Like, because he might have just said something really weird.
Here's what
That's
he
what I'm
said.
interested in.
Here's what he said about it today.
Thank goodness that Matt put his name tag on there, by the way. Jeez Louise.
Seriously, whatever.
What was your reaction to what some of the Browns players said, and what was your side of that?
I thought it was just a lot of talk, honestly. I think they wanted some attention. That's about it.
Do you think that what you said went over a line, or is it just sort of what is said during breaks like that?
I mean, he said some things, so why he ain't saying what he said, So I don't know, bro. I do know it ain't that bad. That's what I do know. I'm gonna just keep it to myself with what I said, but I know it wasn't that bad. He knows that. It's funny, and so I mean, if he sees me to smack me, maybe y'all find out that day.
The PR girl in the corner right there is looking at him like, I'm getting very nervous.
Yeah,
I'm very nervous.
Listen,
I may have to edit some of these things out.
It's,
I mean, the PR. I like the Niner PR people.
They're nice people.
They are nice people, and this girl right here is very nice, and she's very competent at her job. But these are tough jobs because, if he goes, you can't control JJ. JJ's JJ, and he's going to be independent. He's going to say what he wants to say. So they can. And they do. They counsel him. You'll see like a Zach or a Corey or Kristen or one. They'll counsel him a little bit. Hey, maybe let's do this way or let's try that. And they're trying to protect the players from themselves and any unwanted media attention. That's really it. So I get it all. But, first of all, this is days ago. Second of all, who gives a crap? And I love Matt Barrows too. And Matt Barrows is a real pro. And he asked that question there at the end. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm better than Matt Barrows. I'm not. I'm not saying that. And I don't think that. But I just, this whole line of questioning gets a gigantic eye roll from me. And what's worse than this? Okay, this is bad. But you know what? At least this is firsthand. What's worse is, I think it was Furtado or one of these guys asking Shanahan, what did he say? Well, I don't know. He didn't tell me what he said. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, are you okay with what he said? Well, wait a second. It's like, then now Shanahan knows that if it comes out in 2 days that Shelby Harris said that
so lame.
He called him this and that, and he dropped all kinds of racial things, and which would never happen. But if that did happen,
they're both black.
Now, we're right. But now Shanahan would have to be, Shanahan got very nervous when he was asked about, do you endorse what JJ said? Because you know what? Shanahan doesn't give a flying F. He doesn't care. He does not care. Now, he might pretend to care. He might say that he cares. Let me just tell you, he's lying. He does not care.
No.
He cares about coaching football. He doesn't care about who said what to who. And he's not going to, but he also doesn't want to be snagged in some spider web you endorsed it, and it's like, doesn't that
Larry,
strike you as a gotcha?
Yes, it is 100%.
Endorse something that you didn't know. It's like you either have to know every syllable what was said, or most likely he probably said to JJ, what'd you say to him? And JJ said, I told him to F off, blah, blah, blah. What did he say to you? Oh, he said to me, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. Ha, ha, ha. Let's go over beer. That's it. I bet you that's the total due diligence that was done here. Even if it was that, maybe not even that.
Well, it is super lame. It is absolutely super lame to try to get him somehow. And I'm with you. It felt very gotcha. And it's very lame. And you know what? I'll just call it out. Like Matt's putting on that little watermark. He thought he was going to get him so good. And that's just lowbrow shit. So,
it's true.
That's lowbrow. It's just low. It's low. But, hey, you got yourself some attention. So I guess that worked out. Well, not as well as you thought it did. I will say, I have heard,
and he's not a bad guy either.
No, Matt's a good guy.
We're not banging on him, but yeah. But
no, I'm banging on him for this. That was
okay. Go ahead.
That's lame. Matt's a good guy.
Explain that then, Dieter, because you're even going beyond me on this one. So because he put his watermark on it, Are you saying what is that? Give me what that indicates. To
Oh,
you.
this is going to go viral. This is going to be so interesting, and then people are going to have to credit me for it.
Oh, I got you.
Larry would never do that.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
I know
So
you wouldn't.
I wouldn't think to do it.
yeah.
I wouldn't want. I don't need to do that.
No, yes. It's lame. I will say there are probably lines that you shouldn't cross. Not that I have any moral authority. It's football. If we're adding morality into football, we got a whole kettle of fish that we got to operate. Like you have to remove morality from football. Otherwise, you can't enjoy football. So let's not pretend as if this is. Let's get off our moral high horses. Let's stop trying for scandal. I will say it has been alleged that the craziest motherfuckers in the league will learn the names of wives and children and say some stuff. That's pretty low. That you want to talk about lowbrow? That's lowbrow stuff. I'm not saying that happened. I have no idea what happened. I think Jennings said that he would never talk about murder, so that didn't happen. This is all preposterously lame, and people. I'm generally interested to hear what he said because I'm a sicko who is interested in what got a rise out of somebody, but I also don't particularly care because, again, if we're bringing morality into football, we're not starting with the words in that conversation. Oh, no, they say such mean things to each other, and they're crossing the line verbally. Meanwhile, they're going out there and killing each other almost literally. It's
Right.
professional murder ball. Pretty much anything goes. So maybe we stop clutching our pearls about what he said to Shelby Harris. And if it was a truly heinous thing, so be it. Because guess what? Juwan Jennings is a kind of off-the-wall cat. And I guess if I had to handicap anyone who would just say something like absolutely outlandish, I'd probably put Juwan Jennings 1. But, it does not matter. It does not matter. I'm with you on that. But I will disagree in that I am actually kind of interested in finding out. I'm just not going to put in any work to find out.
This ain't Deloitte and Touche. All right. This ain't. Okay. I worked in the Canadian League. I had lots of great friends on the coaching staff and the players. My name on the team was "Fuck you, Larry."
I wonder why.
Seriously, people would call me "Fuck you, Larry." Like, hey, F you, Larry, get over here. F you, Larry. I got, the guy the defensive coordinator that I work for would be like, "Good morning, Larry. F you." I mean, the entire season, F you, Larry. The coach said, "Hey, we're going to have a word to the team before we take the field from F you, Larry." I mean, and it was a term of endearment.
Sure.
I ran into David Archer a couple weeks ago when the Falcons Niners did he was our quarterback. He's like, "Hey man, I never called you F you, Larry." I just called you Larry. He said, "When we played golf, yeah, I called you Larry. I didn't call you F you, Larry." I'm like, "Arch, you're a good man." But you know what? It was okay. It's okay. It's okay. Most of these things are terms of endearment. Now, obviously, between players like this is not terms of endearment.
No,
but it's just a rougher atmosphere, and
about?
it's just.
This isn't Little League.
This isn't Little League.
You're not in an office environment.
Not
These
an
are
office.
grown men playing murder ball, and Juwan Jennings is getting called a hoe, and he fired something back. So
right. There you go. There you
have
go.
at it. Have at it. Fair game.
Okay, let's hit a couple other topics. I want to hit a few before we get out of here. Today, the Niners made a move. They put Ben Barch, one of my favorite guys. They put him on IR. He only played in 6 games, 2 starts. I hate to say it, but he's somewhat glass. He's
somewhat.
Well, I mean, I really like the guy, so I'm going to say somewhat.
All 12 of his reps every time he'd come back healthy were incredible, but the dude can't stay healthy.
Can't stay healthy.
Full stop.
Can't stay healthy. It's just unbelievable. He's got to be a backup going forward.
But
I mean, if they're going to bring him back in 26, and I'd bring him back, but I'd bring him back as a backup and as a fill-in, not as a starter because of the injuries. But they put him on the IR. His season essentially is over. He's going to have surgery. They think it could be a Liz Frank. They also picked up a linebacker today, Garrett Wallow.
What do you know about
waivers from the Broncos? Dieter, do you know anything about Wallow? I can tell you.
Not a damn thing.
Okay, he was originally drafted by the Texans in the 5th round of the 21 draft. 5-year career, Texans, Titans, Broncos. He's basically a special teamer. He's a 26-year-old who went to TCU. Good athlete. He's got some good workout numbers from the combine, good jumping numbers, good movement numbers. But if you look at him, he's a true special teamer. I think this is Bethune's hurting. Winters is hurting. They don't love Graham. They want to have a special teamer. They also want to make sure that Kendricks doesn't get asked to play special teams. So Kendricks is in that spot of like, yeah, he's the backup, but he's like backup veteran who hasn't played a lot of special teams. So this way you get Wallow on there. He gives you a special team linebacker. And then if you need to start Kendricks as a starter for Bethune, now you've got Kendricks penciled in there. Because all these guys, I mean, Robinson,
seem to be missing a linebacker there, Larry.
Nick Martin, they're all banged up. I mean, Nick's in concussion protocol. Jalen Graham's hurt. Luke Gifford has been really great on special teams and really not great in coverage. And so I just think they want Kendricks from scrimmage, but they also know they got to have some special teams coverage.
Yeah.
And so that's my read on it.
No, that's a great read. The Graham thing, he's not even that good of a special teamer. They can't play him from scrimmage. Makes all the sense in the world. And then you're also not asking if they are playing Gifford from down, which they shouldn't do, but they feel like they have to, especially as a team that wants to play a 4-3 over. If you're playing Gifford from scrimmage, then it's hard to also ask him to be your special teams ace. So having a backup in that regard is probably good. So you can't. If any team needs more linebacking depth, it's the San Francisco 49ers. So anybody will do. It will be interesting to see how they play this game of musical chairs here moving forward with Martin and Kendricks and everybody else, because they got a lot. Well, now they have a lot of bodies, and I'm not particularly sure that anybody but Bethune and Winters should be out there, but that's not guaranteed that they can be.
They opened the practice window today for Curtis Rourke, whose brother Nathan plays in the Canadian League, or at least
Who's he play for?
Well, last I checked, he was playing for the BC Lions.
BC Lions were a good team this year.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's still there. He completed 79% in 22 with the BC Lions.
Yeah,
but
he's still on the Lions.
He is? Okay. So, yeah, his brother Nathan. And
he won MVP this year.
This is the Maple. They call Curtis Rourke the Maple Missile. He was the MAC Offensive Player of the Year in 2022.
Yeah.
His claim to fame really is that he transferred to Indiana and played all of last year through a torn ACL and didn't have surgery until January of 2025. So the Niners drafted him this year with the idea that they were going to give him the redshirt year. What do you think? I mean, you did a draft guide. You may have watched this guy.
Yeah.
He's not there's no mobility here. He's 6'4", 220. He's a true pocket passer. He's not, I mean, I shouldn't say no mobility, but he's not.
It might be better now, actually, post-surgery.
So
because he did move around a little bit at Ohio.
Do you like this player? Do you think this is the next? Is this guy going to be an NFL starter, backup, or practice squad?
I think he's an NFL backup. And I think that he can be a quality NFL backup. He won't be Mac Jones level of that, bona fide starter that has to drop down. I don't think that teams are going to be wondering, hey, should we go all in on a Curtis Rourke? But I think he could be a really competent backup. I liked his accuracy. I liked his ability to see the field. He sprays it a little bit. He's very susceptible to pressure, which is not something that Indiana faced a lot last year. But when they faced it, boy, howdy, his issues showed up there in a big way. I mean, for what it's worth, this practice squad window has been on the books for a long time. They're opening it up. They're going to give him the 3 weeks, and then they're going to shut him down again going into the final week of the season. It's all very procedural so that he gets some reps, and then they can have a better read on what he can do for them if a true emergency were to happen, but more so going into the 26th season, where if you get your wish, Larry, he might end up being the backup because Mac Jones has been traded for a nice haul for another team. I would say that it's going to be a minute now before, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Niners carried 3 quarterbacks into next year, with Rourke being the third and Jones being the second. I think that, he's an absolutely, he was the kind of prospect that could have gone anywhere from, any sort of day 3 pick. It wouldn't have shocked me if he had gone. Not surprising at all. He was a 7th round pick, just again, coming off of the knee injury and sort of the redshirt year he had to take. But he's got a good arm. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's definitely Kyle Shanahan's type of quarterback. in that he's, pocket first and wants to process and wants to distribute. I like him a lot, actually. And that's not to say, again, that he's the next Brock Purdy or anything like that, but I think he can be a pretty long-time pro and make a good deal of money. How about this for a path for Curtis Rourke? Let's just go to the Chase Daniel path, where he's just a really good backup on a lot of different teams and makes tens of millions of dollars and just lives in this sort of spot of ambiguity where he never really has to do anything. And when he does have to do something, he's always graded on the curve. Like, that feels like a good place for Curtis Rourke. And that's a good spot for the 49ers in the next couple of years with him on a rookie deal, on a super cheap rookie deal, which, especially come 27, they need all the cheap quality players they can find. Curtis Rourke looks like a very good option to be Brock Purdy's backup in 2 years.
You could make an argument that Chase Daniel is the smartest player in the history of the NFL. When you
knowing Chase Daniel, I'll tell you that factually that is not true. But
he played in
yes.
Missouri. But
no one played the game better, and I'm not talking about football.
Well, I mean, this guy, if you look at the total number of snaps played to total number of dollars earned, he's the smartest player ever. I mean, this guy's made a very good, healthy amount of money, and he subjected himself to very little punishment at all. So in some ways, he's the smartest guy ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Two topics that we're going to hit here that I didn't know were going to be topics when we started the stream, because I didn't know that John Lynch, I guess, stopped by with Tim Kawakami on the TK show.
Oh yeah. And the classic TK bye weeks.
Yeah. To discuss hey, John,
he asked, this is not too behind the scenes. I'm sure Tim won't mind me putting this business out there, but Tim, whenever there's lulls, Tim is so dogged about, hey, I need Shanahan or I need Lynch. He'll ask for the big dogs all year. And then he's so persistent that they, at least the Niners have always kind of agreed to give him during the bye weeks, give him the big dogs. So the credit to Tim, he got him. Doesn't shock me at all. And I hope John was candid with Tim, because Tim demands transparency.
Wow. Well, he got interviews that I didn't get, so I tip my cap.
You have to stay on it every day for months on end. That's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just say what I want to say, and I don't need them to talk to me, because I'm there. I know the story. I don't need them to affirm anything about the story. I don't need them to give me. I mean, I'd rather them talk to me than not. But I'm not going to trade my total fierce independence for it. And something tells me that I can't maintain these relationships and be fiercely as independent as I want to be. So I'm just going to.
I've already caveated two things in this show, because I didn't want to talk shit about teams. I mean, I ended up doing it because I don't.
I'd rather maintain my independence and say whatever I want to say.
There's also a level of reputation siphoning in getting the big interview or the big names that I've always found. I know, and my editors don't like this. I've always found it a little bit distasteful on like 60 Minutes or stuff like, oh, we got the big interview. And it's like, okay, well, what are we doing? It's kind of that gotcha shit again, where it's, oh, we got the big interview. You know what I like? I like people who will tell me about the person. I like that second degree. And you get 3 or 4 of those, and they can all corroborate the same story. Now you don't have to get the spin cycle if, in fact, there is something negative going down with the guy. I like to keep one layer out. I don't like the inside of the young. I like to say one layer outside. That's why we have sentinels everywhere in the NFC right now.
So Lynch went on the TK show, and he talked about the future of Brandon Ayuk and Mac Jones. And the Niners, of course, if don't know the story, you should. The Niners voided Ayuk's guaranteed money for 2026. A lot of people saw that as a precursor to some kind of a divorce between the two sides. Why wouldn't it be, right? And
how do you see anything else?
Right. I'm taking away all your money.
We're firing you for cause. Come to work tomorrow.
Hey, but we're hoping for a positive outcome. And of course, he's still recovering from his major injuries that he suffered last week in Week 7 against the Chiefs. And a lot of people feel like he'll never take another snap for the Niners. I kind of put myself in that camp. Lynch, here's the quote from Lynch. Some of the other things that happened on the side that hadn't been fun, but you go through that with players. I think, like I've talked about about throughout this thing, that the story's not written yet, and Brandon's still working to try to come back from his injury, and hopefully his story's not done with the Niners, and there's still a great ending to it. You never like to see a player go through that, and he's going through it right now, and we were just eager for the time where he can return and hopefully contribute in a big way. Lynch has emphasized that the Niners have maintained ongoing communication with Aiyuk. He said throughout the process, there's been a lot of communication. We do with all of our players. And when you make a commitment to a player like that, your hopes are everything goes smooth and all that. That's not always the case. So there have been some bumps in the road. But like I said, hopeful that we can get him back on the field. As I've always said, we're a better team when he's out there.
Okay.
What I've noticed before you say anything is that Lynch has carved out some safe landing spaces for himself with these answers. But like I said, I'm hopeful we can get him back on the field. Okay, that's a totally safe.
Now it's on Aiyuk to come back, not the Niners.
And we're hopeful. Okay, and
we would
and as I've always said, we're a better team when he's out there. And what he really should say is, and the safe ground that I always, go to when I'm asked these tough questions is that we're a better team when he's out there. Well, that's like no shit.
Actually true. Yeah.
That's like a no shit Sherlock answer, right? I mean, of course you're better. I mean, if you're not better, then you should be fired because you just signed him to a long-term big money extension. So if you're not a better team when he's out there, then you should be categorically canned.
Yes.
So I mean, it's kind of a, it's once again, it's I'm doing the media thing and I'm gonna try to appear to be transparent while getting to these repetitive, safe landing spots.
Non-answers.
Non-answer answers. There's been a lot of communication. There's a lot of hope. We're still hopeful in a big way. Well,
doesn't sound like a process to me. It sounds like they're hoping Brandon Aiyuk changes his mind again, as he's done about 45 times in the last 10
make sense
months.
of this. Make sense. You're a bright guy. Maybe
it's very straightforward.
What do you think?
Brandon Aiyuk threw a fit. The red shorts times 10, just constant. I'm not going to show up to meetings. I'm going to do my own thing. Whomever his agent is, I forget their name, is giving him the world's worst advice. He wants to go to Washington and play with his buddy Jaden Daniels. He wants to be anywhere but here. He doesn't feel like
the Niners want to go to Washington. I mean,
he absolutely does. He's
okay. All right.
Larry, we have to suspend rational thought for a minute here, because legitimately, I had the same response with the 10 people I've talked to about this. Which 6 or 7 of them is like, yeah, we think that there's some side thing with Washington, but basically, Peter Gibbons from Office Space, a show that we reference constantly on our streams together.
The greatest movie of all time, maybe.
He's trying to get himself fired. He's doing everything in his power to get himself fired. And the Niners are like, oh, bet. Let's do that because we want to get off this number after you had your catastrophic knee injury. This is an all-time bad contract, and you're giving us a clean out. So we're going to do that. And all you need to know about it is the Niners, it can be phrased however you want. They fired him for cause. They nullified his deal. And Brandon Aiyuk, when faced with the premise of being fired for cause, no more money coming your way, you're done, all-time easiest slam dunk NFLPA grievance known to man. If he wanted to stay with the 49ers, the contract is ironclad, and the Niners had to wiggle through a million ways. If he had wanted to stay with the Niners, he could have gone to the NFLPA. The NFLPA would have been in there in a second because the Niners would have been pushing the limits of getting rid of guys on a contract, kind of going outside the boundaries on how to fire somebody, how to cut somebody. He could have had an immediate injunction on that thing. Now, not a legal injunction, but theoretically, this would have been a big, long, drag it out in the muck. You can't fire me. I'm under contract. You're nullifying this contract I just signed. I played 7 games. This is bullshit. He could have made this thing so messy. And when the Niners came to him with, hey, we're nullifying this, I can confirm. When they came to him with, hey, we're nullifying the guarantees in your contract because you haven't shown up. We didn't like the way that the rehab is going, and you've been doing your own rehab on the side, and you haven't been in conjunction with our staff enough, and you're not showing up to meetings. You're not being you're not being a distraction. You're not being a problem, but you're just it was kind of like a mood. Like, we don't really like what you're doing, and so we're gonna nullify this stuff. And Brandon Ayuk, again, the Niners really didn't have much grounds. I mean, how many guys just don't go to meetings? How many guys do their own thing? I mean, it was funny. You see Nick Bosa in that Monday Night Football game. Oh, they made sure he was in the luxury box and not hanging out in Florida, where they let him do a lot of his rehab, which they should, because they trust Nick Bosa. But Ayuk, who doesn't go he stays in the Bay, hanging out the whole time, and just kind of being, kind of like that Holden he had, just kind of being there and weird and awkward. And the Niners saw a window because he didn't show up for a couple times, and he gave him an inch. They took a mile. He could have gone to the NFLPA like that. That thing would have been, all those guarantees would have come back like that, because the Niners wouldn't want it out in the public that they're doing their player dirty. And instead, Brandon Ayuk said, oh, great, I'm good with this. So he got what he wanted. He got an out. And now the Niners can't do anything because they got the easiest divorce of all time. They got what they wanted. Brandon Ayuk, I can't explain it, got what he wanted. And so Brandon Ayuk doesn't have to talk to the media. He's not around. He's out of sight, out of mind. But John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and all these people, they still have to answer questions about this. So they're going to keep saying the good thing. Like, we really like Brandon. We think the world of Brandon. And, we still think Brandon can come back, until they can actually follow through on the cut, which they planned on doing at the end of the season, whether Brandon came back. But Brandon's not going to play another snap for the 49ers. Why would he? Why would he? He doesn't have a contract with them. He's in a walk year.
Why wouldn't they say it then?
Because because it would be a bad precedent. They can't throw him under the bus, because it'd be bad optics for the 49ers, because it's like, wait a minute, you nullified the guarantees on his contract because you didn't like his rehab practice. He didn't do anything egregious. He didn't say anything.
Well, obviously,
like
but I mean, Dieter, he obviously, what is he averse to money and guaranteed money at that?
Yes.
I mean, he has,
Larry.
He has to.
Functionally speaking, yes.
Aren't they let off the hook as far as
100%.
as soon as he didn't fight it, he's basically announcing to the world, I went against my contract.
Yes. Yes. He is.
So how are they going to look bad? How are they going to look bad if he went against his contract? How are they going to look bad?
Because the NFLPA can still come in and step in. If they say anything publicly explaining this situation, as I understand it, the NFLPA might step in on their own without Brandon Ayuk's consent, because it's
why would them saying he's not going to play for us again give grounds for them to have a case against the Niners?
Because then it gives the NFLPA the argument that the Niners had it out for Brandon Ayuk. And now it's not a mutual decision anymore. If the Niners just play this as everything's hunky-dory, everything's fine, we think the world of Brandon, they can get all the way until they can cut him, and then it's fine. Then it's over. So they just have to maintain appearances until the divorce is done.
And you're saying they're going to cut him when? At the end of the year?
I think it would be there's actually a good question. That's a good question in the sense of when do they want to take the cap hit? I would venture to say that they'll cut him before March 1st and take the entire cap hit for the contract in the 26th season, as to create some space for 27. But they could post June 1 him, which would still be a March 1st or whatever the league year changes over on, before free agency. To answer the question, they could post June 1, designate him, and then split it up where, in fact, most of the cap hit would go on 27. So that's just a question of where the money would be best allocated, or where the cap hit would hurt least. I think that they would want it all now, but it suffices to say Brandon Ayuk will be a free agent when free agency starts.
The other thing that Lynch weighed in on was Mac Jones. And Mac Jones obviously has played really well. He's under contract through 26. He signed a 2-year deal with the Niners last March. So Lynch did not rule out anything. He made it clear that he likes the strength of the quarterback room. He said, we could always do something, but I think that's a position. Nobody exhibited this more than the great Bill Walsh, is that the more quality players you have in that room, that sets you up for success. And I think you've got to keep your eyes and ears open to everything. But we obviously believe greatly in Brock Purdy, and Brock earned the trust from us. Mac earned a lot of trust this year with the way he played, so we're excited about that room. We're going to just keep focusing on this season. We'll figure out everything as it goes. Lynch praised the coaching staff. He said he's of talking of Jones, he said he's a tremendous teammate. He's got a quirky personality. You see it with his suits, but just his interactions with his team. That quarterback room is really fun with Adrian and Rourke and those guys. They have a great time in there, and they get a lot done, and it's a really good room.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it? How does this play out? Does Mac Jones, hopefully in the afterglow of a Super Bowl win for the Niners, say to Lynch and Shanahan, "Hey, man, it's been a great year. I got a ring. I loved it here. Get me the hell out of here for whatever you guys can get and get me to a starting spot?" Or has Mac Jones been on Jacksonville and really doesn't want to go to a bad spot and maybe would rather stay with the 49ers at $7 million and wait for a better spot? If it, the teams that need quarterbacks are often pretty bad. And there's a lot of, it's like kind of like being a head coach in the NFL. You don't get endless chances. And if you've already had one failed chance, like Robert Saleh has as a coach with the Jets, or Mac Jones has had as a quarterback with the Patriots, you may just say, "Hey, you know what? Don't send me to the Raiders because I'd rather stay here for another year and then wind up, picking my own spot in a year from now than having you send me somewhere that is going to just be a 1-year detour to my career." So this one's going to be interesting, actually, because, Mac Jones is going to want to do what's best for him. And it's easy to say what's best for him is to be a starter, but
sure,
there's also pain involved in the NFL when you're a starter on a bad team. And I don't know that I'd want to go quarterback the Raiders just so I could say I'm a starting quarterback in 26 when I maybe could stay with the Niners at $7 million for one more year. And then the following March, say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to pick my spot. And now I'm going to go, replace Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Or I'm going to go, I'm going to go to LA and be Sean McVay's, answer to life post Stafford." I mean,
unless they get that pick. Yeah.
If you're, if you're Mac Jones,
it seems pretty straightforward to me. Mac Jones signed a 2-year contract on purpose. This is as great a situation as any team and any quarterback can have. We were just praising Chase Daniel for being the smartest guy in football, right? Mac Jones is 27 years old. He has ample time for his second chance to be a starter. He signed a 2-year contract for a reason. I'm sure that he didn't expect to play as much as he has this year, but he certainly, I think, expected to play a little bit for the 49ers over those 2 years. And yeah, if someone comes in with a big-time offer, a ridiculous offer that the Niners can't say no to, they can go to Mac Jones and be like, "Hey, how do you feel about this?" And if he says no, the Niners can honor that or they cannot. But I highly, highly doubt that Mac Jones is going to be like, "Get me out of here. I need to be a starter again." He seems to be really enjoying being a backup who will get snaps because Brock Purdy, frankly, has not stayed very healthy throughout his career. And he's making a great amount of money. Maybe not as much as he could make, but he'll be making $7 million or whatever his first year, wherever he's a quarterback. And again, he's 27 years old. He's not a quarterback who has this short window to get what he can because he's all mobility and Mac Jones can play the same kind of football he plays today when he's 37 years old, right? Like he's a statue back there, right? As long as his arm stays pretty limber, he's good because the rest of him sure as hell ain't limber. So I don't see any reason to rock the boat for any party here. If the Niners can get a great draft pick for Mac Jones, they should take it to Mac Jones and say, "Hey, because we want to keep you. We want to keep you because, you're very valuable to us and we like having you around. And if the most important position for a football team is quarterback, backup quarterback should be the second most important position. And so let's we can make something work here if there's a great opportunity for both of us. But if that doesn't arise, you ride it out. And maybe at the trade deadline, we have another conversation. And then, free agency, we get a comp pick for you or something. And we shake hands. Maybe you come back for another year, 1 year. Like, this is a great situation for all parties involved because Mac Jones played great. And if Mac Jones does not strike me in any way as somebody who needs his ego massaged by some sort of a status. He strikes me as a guy who has seen the highs and the lows of being an NFL quarterback and understands that homeostasis is the hardest thing to find in this league. And it seems as if he has something pretty close to it right now. So why rock the boat unless something really great comes along? Kind of in the same vein as you were just saying with coaches. Like, why jump at the first opportunity to get back in it? Because that will be your last opportunity. I just don't see the urgency there. It's fun to play the fantasy game. What could they get? It also comes down to Mac Jones and his career, and I do think that we shortchange how long his career can be, regardless of if he's a starter or not next year. Just how long his career can be because he's only 27 years old. He feels a lot older, but he's only 27.
Right, which means he could play for 15 more years in the NFL.
Maybe, yeah.
Definitely a decade. If I was Mac Jones, I would just want to make sure that I was getting to a better spot.
100%.
And then
if Minnesota calls and they say, "Hey, we got a 3rd-round pick," and Mac Jones is like, the Niners are like, "Oh, that's pretty great for Mac. I guess we wanted a 2nd," but like that feels like the right thing to do here. And it's a little bit of a difference, but like we're gonna get it because if the Raiders come in with a 2nd, you have to go to Mac and be like, "Hey, we got a 2nd for you. It's with the Raiders. We're gonna take it, but we do want to." Think about this. What could someone give you that halfway through the season, if Brock's big toe acts up again, you won't regret having taken
Justin Jefferson?
I mean, yeah, but no, come on now. Like, that's got to be a pretty damn good pick. That's got to be like a top 50 pick for you to be like, well, at least we got that pick. Because otherwise you're going to be like, shit, we're starting Curtis Rourke and we're trying to make the Super Bowl. Like that's
here's
Mac
the bigger
Jones
question.
is very valuable.
Arizona's going to come knocking.
Probably.
What would you want to trade him in the division?
I don't know what Brissett's contract is. I would take Brissett and a really good draft pick.
I wouldn't want Brissett. I want players.
Kyle likes Brissett.
Yeah,
Kyle
but I mean,
Brissett a lot.
I know, but I mean, I wouldn't want Brissett.
They're not. That's the other thing
guys.
too.
I mean, I don't even know if the Brissett would make their team. I mean,
I just think also we overvalue what Mac Jones would get on the marketplace. He's the worst deep ball thrower in the NFL. He has no mobility. He's good. He's a good quarterback, but he can't be great. I really just don't think there's a situation in which he can be great. And I don't think, especially when you have all these quarterbacks in the draft every year, like,
see, those guys can't process, and this guy can process.
I'm with
you. Those guys can't be accurate. This guy's freaking unbelievably accurate.
But there's a big difference here between teams that understand that the most important thing is accuracy and processing, and teams who are just trying to sell their fan base hope. And there are 16 to 20 teams every year that are just trying to sell hope. The Browns have been doing it for 20 fucking years. Like, they're just trying to sell hope. They don't need competency. They need the moonshot, because otherwise, what are we?
I know, but you got to remember this, Dieter. It's a copycat league, and now what are we seeing? We're seeing multiple years in a row where the first round quarterbacks are just a gigantic crapshoot, where there's all kinds of mistakes made, and then we're also in this era where Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and Mac Jones and Daniel Jones and like I don't know if this truly is a copycat league.
Yeah,
Mac Jones should have a real market because he is proving that he can process and he can be a solid NFL quarterback. And there's so many of these guys out of college that you can kind of tell. It's like even if they're going to be good down the road, it's very, very rare to be able to step in and play well.
But on the flip side of that, it's not as if Mac Jones is the only possible. I mean, one, he's not really a reclamation project. He's been reclaimed. So now you're kind of getting the finished part.
But you are getting a reclamation because you're getting him next year at 7. I think part of the value of Mac Jones is that you get a quarterback that you have a 1-year window to see at him.
Yeah.
For $7 million. So I think that is in some ways. And like, if you want to just say contractual situations, I think you're getting the ideal contractual situation.
I'll agree with that because Justin Fields got what, 22 million or something. And then
And then if Jones really stunk, what did maybe
He
you
did-
moved a second round pick and you've given up $7 million. You're like, you
Yeah.
can look your owner in the eye and say, hey, look, we tried, it didn't work. That's not a big price to pay dollar wise.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And maybe the Niners can get a bidding war going, but you also then have all the quarterbacks who have fallen out of the status of starter this year, like a Kyler Murray and such, who, they're now in the reclamation project bin, and they'll probably be more expensive, but they're all going to get cut, right? No one's trading for anybody. So
right.
There's that. It's not as it's not as limited a market as maybe we're projecting in our own minds right now in this sort of
Right. I mean,
Jones
Zach
Center
Wilson.
world.
There's going to be other
Right.
guys.
There's going to be other guys, and then one step beyond that. Again, the Niners have to factor in how valuable he is to them, and I do think that maybe we underrate how valuable it is to the 49ers to have a backup quarterback that they know can win games. I mean, how many teams are lucky enough to say that? Most teams aren't lucky enough to say that they have a starting quarterback they know can win games. And if the Niners are, as I have alleged countless times, all about 2026, having Mac Jones on the roster gives you a significant boost to win the Super Bowl next year. And I know they're in a position to compete for it this year, but next year they feel like it's Super Bowl or bust again. And having Mac Jones on that roster is a big bolster because now, again, as we just saw play out this year, Brock goes down. You could still compete for the 1 seat because of Mac Jones. Like, there's no second round pick that's making that even out. If I'm trying to win the Super Bowl, I'm trying to have the best roster possible. I have the best quarterback contract, perhaps in football. By the way, back to back, going from Brock to now this one. I'm not trading that thing away for anything other than a Godfather offer. And I just don't think Mac Jones is going to get a Godfather offer for thrown the Niners way from anybody. But
I agree with you, except in one scenario.
Okay.
If we get to the playoffs and Mac Jones comes off the bench and leads them to a victory,
then we got a
problem. now you got a quarterback that I think you probably could get a pretty good price tag for. And who knows? I mean, it's all it takes is one team to just be like, hey, you know what? That's the guy that we want and we're willing to pay for him. All right, couple last thoughts and then we're out of here. We'll hit some supers. What do you think of Malik Mustafa and Jair Brown?
Yeah.
Jair Brown is a former third-round pick. Played well as a rookie for Steve Wilkes. Intercepted Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yes, he did.
Then struggled under Nick Sorensen in year 2. And now appears to be reviving his career under Robert Saleh. He's obviously a favorite of Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
He's the highest graded player on the Niners defense who's played at least 500 snaps.
Right.
He's very versatile. You can line him up in the box. You can play him at free safety.
Yeah.
You can play him in the slot. He's a high percentage interceptor going back to Happy Valley.
Right.
He's strong against the run. He can blitz. He's a well-rounded player. I think Niner fans have been really hard on him because he was there. They view him as their first pick, but in reality, he was a third-round pick. So I think they're kind of holding him.
He also his best football came at the earliest, right? So we all got our hopes up about what he could be, and then it all kind of went downhill from there, only to be revived this year.
And now you let Hufanga walk to Denver, and Hufanga's having a really good year. And, so Hufanga signed for 3 years and $39 million with Denver. And he's a former All-Pro. I mean, he did tear his ACL, but he got a lot of money in free agency. Yeah. So the Niners have an opportunity to extend Brown this offseason.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you don't sign him, you replace him with Marquise Siegel, who has had, bumps in the road this year.
Right.
What is your thoughts on Malik Mustafa and Jair Brown as a tandem? Do you see them as a strength, as a weakness? And I think they're coming on right now. I think Brown is a player that is very physical and has the right mindset. It's just a matter of consistent coaching, and I don't know that he got that in his first 3 years. He's been up and down.
Tell me Nick Sorensen couldn't get him right?
Yeah, but I do believe in this player, and I know there's a lot of people that don't. So where are you on Brown? Where are you on Mustafa? Where are you on the Niners safety? Should they sign Jair Brown to an extension?
Well, I'll say this. I love Malik Mustafa. I loved him in the draft process coming out of Wake Forest. Loved him in his rookie year. And it was a rough go of things when he came back from that injury. He was playing with a tremendous amount of rust, and that rust looks to be gone. So Malik Mustafa is their best safety. Jair Brown is playing really, really good football right now. Even I, one of the chief Jair Brown skeptics, perhaps because I got burned from feeling so excited about him early, have to say, I mean, he's playing really, really good and sound football right now. He's a whip smart guy, and that has been his detriment. He played the last 2 years with a clearly active mind, and you might think, oh, that's a great thing. Not playing defense in the NFL. He was thinking before he moved, and you could just see that beach ball on your Mac spinning, just being like, I got to do 4 things. He was not decisive. He has been so decisive the last 3-4 weeks. It's been really a joy to watch. I very much question this Niners safety tandem and their ability to cover over the top. But when it comes to stopping the run, covering the flats, picking up tight ends, really helping in the run game, they are as good as any tandem in football right now. And that has been a huge boost for this defense in the post-Fred Warner era of 49ers defense. So I love what I'm seeing. I think the verdict cannot be fully rendered yet on Brown because we still need to see how he does when they go up against an offense that can push the ball downfield. And you might get that 4 weeks in a row here coming out of this bye. So we'll know if Jair Brown is the truth or not come the end of week 18. And if he is indeed the truth, as someone who very much believes that safeties are destiny in the NFL, the Niners are looking really good for the rest of the playoffs. And then they absolutely have to extend him because it's not just that he's one of Kyle's favorites. I mean, Robert Saleh gave Marquise Siegel kind of the short end of the stick, frankly. I mean, he put Marquise Siegel out there in week 1, was moving him around. It was clear that he was one of his favorite little projects. And I thought Marquise Siegel played really good football. Now, his coverage ability, specifically ball, his ability to play the ball was lacking. But I thought he had sticky coverage, save for that touchdown he gave up unquestionably. It was on him against Tampa Bay. And I will note that, Jair and Mustafa have both had touchdowns almost exactly like that just haven't been caught over the last couple of weeks that might look as bad as the Siegel one. I thought Siegel kind of got a bad rap when they threw Brown back in there. And I think that, truth be told, I think that they were going to give Brown the reps, let Siegel see from the sidelines. And then when Brown failed, they throw Siegel back in there, having kind of better understood what it is they were looking for him to do, having watched it from the press box. But Jair Brown has taken every advantage of this opportunity. And it's a testament. And I talked to him a little bit on KMBR a couple weeks ago. Like, it's a testament to him and his positive attitude throughout what have unquestionably been some pretty serious trials for him as an NFL player, right? Like, I don't know where rock bottom was. He wouldn't tell me, but there have been multiple points over the last 2 years that you could say you had to be questioning if you were going to play in this league, if you were going to be anything more than a special teamer. But he was so earnest and positive towards the roles that whatever role he got, whether that be the special team stuff that they were asking him to do, big nickel, running him in there as a third safety every now and again. He took everything on with aplomb, and it forced Robert Saleh to put him back in there. And he has, again, just taken this opportunity and run with it. And I'm not betting against him, even though I see some stuff on film that I think can be exploited. I know he sees it on film too. And I know he has the physical traits to handle it. It's just a question on if he can handle the inherent conflict that comes with playing safety in the NFL and having to do 2-3 things at one time and playing with that decisiveness that's so necessary to be great and kind of letting the chips fall where they might. Sometimes you make the wrong decision. You got to be decisive one way or another. It's a great tandem. And I think that the Niners, if this carries forward these next 4 weeks, should feel really, really good about a position that was as big a question mark as any on this roster early in this season and even in the middle of the season. This is not the time to be figuring out who your safeties are. I think the Niners know who their safeties are, and they're going to ride with them, and it could work out really, really well for them.
All right, we're gonna go speed round on the last couple topics.
Yep.
Defensive end Trey Hendrickson is undergoing core muscle surgery this week. He's expected
Sounds
to be
bad.
sidelined for approximately 6 weeks. He suffered the injury week 6 against Green Bay, and he pushed to play 2 weeks later against the Jets. I mean, is this just, did the Niners dodge a bullet here, or do you think that they were fully aware of his situation, and that's part of the reason that you didn't see him? They didn't make a deal for him, maybe because they could have, and they didn't like his health. What do you think?
I heard that they never even really entertained the idea of a Trey Hendrickson, that it fiscally didn't make any sense, that the health thing didn't make any sense. That schematically, it was kind of a difficult argument to make. I think that he's a player whose name recognition probably outpaces his performance as of late, and maybe he can come in on a cheap contract this upcoming offseason, but I don't think that the Niners value him as much as the Niners fan base did.
Okay. All right. Jeff Kent, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You got a thought on that? I mean,
yeah, imagine if they put the best player on those teams in.
I know. Seriously. I mean, this thing's so complicated.
And I'm talking, of course, of Rich Aurelia,
Yeah. I mean, this is it's so I feel bad for Jeff Kent in some ways, because it's like you're going to the Hall of Fame, and it's just like immediately it's like we're going to say, hey, way to go, and then like 7 seconds later we're like, where's Bonds?
Yeah.
And it's just it's like he's always was overshadowed by Bonds, and
to be fair, Jeff Kent on his own is a legitimately great player, and his stats are Hall of Fame worthy. I got no problem with Jeff Kent being in the Hall of Fame. I got a problem with the Hall of Fame and their selective biases that they I guess they're not indiscernible or in how they project them, but this selective moral grandstanding that they do as some sort of arbiters of what's right and what's wrong in baseball, while they let in guys who were clear steroids users. I mean, not convicted, but on all the lists. Anyone who wants to.
You got Piazza, you got Bagwell, you got
what
Ortiz,
the hell are we talking
you got
about?
all these guys are in already.
All these guys in, but they're nice. And then you got Bud Selig, who turned a blind eye and let the entire steroid era happen. Bonds' 755th home run came off a guy who was also using steroids. Like, I'm not going to pretend as if Barry Bonds wasn't using the cream and the clear and anything else he can get his hands on. But the idea that he was the only one in baseball in the early 2000s using steroids is ridiculous. And they didn't get selective over which players are using amphetamines in the 60s and 70s, or which guys were doing blow in the 80s. But because, steroids are a stain on the game. But meanwhile, we're not going to police this at all. We'll just police it as, in Hall of Fame voting. That's when the policing will happen. It's just absolutely laughable, all while they make, special exclusions for this guy or that guy, but not the good one. Not the good one. He needs to be punished for what he did. All these other guys weren't good enough that we don't have to punish them. It's ridiculous, and it undercuts the entire credibility of the thing. The Baseball Hall of Fame is a laughing stock, and that's how I feel bad for Jeff Kent. He's going into an institution that used to mean something and now means jack squat, and it's not he's Hall of Fame worthy under the previous, standards. But now he's going in, and it looks like he's just being brought in as a patsy to some sort of, larger political statement about the sport of baseball. And it's all just a joke. And it really sucks, because Cooperstown is legitimately awesome. And for all of this moral grandstanding, it's so embarrassing. It's so lame. And it undercuts everybody who's in there that deserves to be enshrined and celebrated. But by them just playing this stupid fucking game over who gets in and who gets out based on if we liked you or not, or if you were too good or not. Pretending like Alex Rodriguez isn't one of the greatest baseball players of all time, or Roger Clemens isn't the great. Like, just remove Bonds from it, who was unquestionably an asshole. Like, you're telling me those guys aren't great, but David Ortiz and Jeff Bagwell somehow make a cut?
It's the whole thing is just so disgusting. John Heyman is tweeting out, "Hey, congratulations to Big Papi." And then when people are like, "Hey, man, where's the consistency?"
You tweeted out the list, John Heyman. Yeah, he was on it.
But and then people are like, "Where's the consistency?" He's like, "I didn't vote for him." Well, then why the fuck are you glad handing him into the Hall of Fame with your tweet pat on the back if you didn't vote for him? And then, like, what is this? This
Classic baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, let's kowtow to these guys, but then let's not vote for them. And I mean, baseball, what a mess. What a mess. And it's all because of Bud Selig's ego. Bud Selig openly lied about what he knew about steroids. It all came out in Howard Bryant's book, Juicing the Game.
Yep.
Major League Baseball they were slow to adopt PED testing because they were making money on the PEDs.
Yeah.
And Bud Selig's salary was bloated up to $50 million on the backs of the PEDs. So Major League Baseball, because of that, became a rudderless ship on the issue.
Yep.
Bud never made any official statement regarding the era. He always left it for other people to clean up his mess. Baseball never attempted to abolish any record by Barry Bonds or any other steroid-using player. They never attempted to refund any fan a penny for any ticket or merchandise bought. So as far as MLB was concerned, it was all on the up and up. But they had a major problem. And their problem is that the Hall of Fame's a mess. But instead of actually Selig doing leadership and providing some leadership and some clarity and some clarification and some guidance, he was more concerned with himself, like he always was.
Yep.
And so now we're in this era where we presume innocence, we presume guilt. It's all based on nothing. There are dirty guys that are already in the Hall of Fame. There's clean guys that are going to be kept out of the Hall of Fame because of PED suspicions. All the while, Selig got rich. And now, he's presided over and benefited from the steroid era. And then he ultimately got himself safely ensconced within the walls of the Hall of Fame. And while simultaneously framing the real Hall of Fame players, the Bondses and the Clemens and the Sheffields and these guys. And now Bud's in. He's got all of his money. He's in the Hall of Fame. And Bonds and Clemens and these guys are like cautionary tales about, and they're like the ugly face of an era that nobody wants to talk about or come to grips with.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got
and let's
Harold
add one more thing.
Is in, Jeff Kent is in, Roger Clemens is out, Barry Bonds is out, the Hit King's out. It's like it's a museum. You know what? We're not all proud of every moment of American history. We don't exclude it from museums.
We do exclude it from textbooks, I hear, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, it's a museum. If you want people to, and then the other thing is, these are complicated topics from the standpoint of these are complicated substances. Right now in 2025, we view HGH, the cream and the clear, anabolic steroids as very much negative, ingredients. But over the course of time, HGH may be viewed as, through a different lens. And as medical science goes on, who knows? Maybe someday that people will embrace some of these PEDs as positive drugs. So I'll
give you a great example of this. So Mark McGuire, who more than anybody enriched Bud Selig, both him and Sammy Sosa, 1998. They say it saved baseball. I'm not so sure about that, but yes, it certainly had a positive effect. I remember this. I was 10 years old. The absolute outcry over him having creatine in his locker.
Right. That they took a picture of.
I mean, if you're not taking creatine in the year 2025, you're not doing it right. It was a legal over-the-counter substance then. Everybody's on it now. I take it every night.
What?
I take creatine every night.
It's mostly not great for your hair.
Yeah, I've actually kind of noticed that, but that's neither here nor there. Is that it? Is that the reason? Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, you feel about 10% stronger every day than you would have normally have felt. I know when I don't take it, and it's really
Hollywood actors and actresses are taking HGH.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, okay.
These guys who are 60 that look 38. You don't think they're taking HGH? They are.
Oh no. You have no idea, Larry. You're right. You have no idea. Here's all I want people to look at. If you're wondering, hey man, that old guy's looking pretty cut. Look at how big their knuckles and hands are, because anabolic steroids, HGH in particular, grows everything. And in particular, it grows cartilage really, really well because of increased blood flow. And you'll see these guys,
gigantic dangling earlobes,
huge ears, bigger noses, big ass hands that look like they you can't even buy gloves for them, like baseball mitts of hands. Just keep an eye out for that moving forward. Troy Aikman. Sorry, I sneezed there.
Johnny Bench. Are you trying to say Johnny Bench?
They all have Johnny Bench hands.
Well, so there you go. Couple last thoughts before we go. I know we were talking a lot of football, but I do want to throw a couple of these baseballs in. It is winter meetings time. And
lovely time
right now it's, there's a lot of talk about, the Giants getting Framber Valdez or going for a starting pitcher. And,
we're all frothing for Framber.
I mean, the Giants 680 is all over every move that they potentially can make. And,
Not our shows, Lair.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about it until
you're not allowed to, and I won't.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about it until they actually do something, or
that's where I'm at.
But where are the Giants going to sign a big pitcher? Are they going to make a big trade? Are they going to trade Eldridge? It sounds like they might. I'm not sure if they are. What are you thinking? I mean, part of me, they're kicking tires on Schwarber. Personally, I don't believe in Eldridge, and I would sign Schwarber and trade Eldridge, and if I could get a couple of pitchers, I would. But now I'm hearing that that some of the pitchers, that some of these teams don't want to part with some of these pitchers, and what's your best guess? So there's speculation about Freddie Peralta, there's speculation on Harrison Bader, there's speculation on a number of starting pitchers, including the kid from Japan who throws high 90s. What do you think? Is anybody is there
I mean, I made some calls this afternoon. My stance is pretty clear. I'll believe that the Giants signed anybody when I see that person wearing a jersey over their shirt and tie. The all-time worst look in the history of men's fashion. I'll believe it when I see it, because I remember being in the parking lot outside of Oracle Park for the Carlos Correa press conference when we all got the email. I'll believe that the Giants made the big flashy signing, or even
the Giants and Mets are down on the final two on Framber Valdez. Lefty.
Great. Framber Valdez is a very good pitcher. I will make this promise now. I don't care how much money these guys get. The Giants there is nothing punitive whatsoever about the Giants going out and spending $500 million on payroll. They say, the competitive balance tax. What does that really do? Nothing. We're not talking like the NBA, CBA, and these aprons. We're not talking about the NFL and their salary cap. Certainly not the NHL and their hard cap. There's no real salary cap. It's just what your appetite is for spending money. And while the Giants have a number that they're willing to spend, it is nowhere near what they could spend. So I don't give a damn how much they spend and if they overpay for Framber Valdez or not. This is a complete 180 for me. I used to worry about this shit all the time. And will they have market flexibility? Forget that. Spend the money. Go make a team, because you need a second baseman, a right fielder, or a center fielder, 2 starters at least, and at least 3 bullpen arms this offseason. You got to get them somehow. I don't care how you get them. I don't care if you trade Bryce Eldridge. You have to go get them. And what I don't want is the Giants to be, we're in the mix for a lot of guys, and then end up with like their 7th best option because all they were was a placeholder in a bidding war. That's what I don't want. If Buster Posey wants to be anything different from Farhan Zaidi, he actually gets guys signed. And maybe the early evidence is that he does, in fact, do that with Willie Adames and Matt Chapman and Jung Hoo Lee or whatever. But, like, if that's – and getting Devers – if this is going to be any different, if the Giants are, in fact, any different, and Buster Posey isn't just window dressing to appease the fans because he's Buster Posey – you can't say anything bad about Buster Posey. If he is actually different – he needs to actually sign some people, or he needs to make some damn trades. I don't care how he does it. I don't care how much they spend. Put the team together, because it sounds like the Padres are about to do something wild. It sounds like Tatis gone.
They could trade him.
Yeah, and it would be part of a bigger thing to bring in somebody else. And like it sounds
supposedly
like
shopping the second baseman, first baseman, second baseman. What's the guy's name?
Rise. Yeah, don't touch
no, not him. The
Cronenworth.
Cronenworth.
Have 'em.
And somebody else is also getting shopped. I
They're
saw.
shopping everybody. It sounds like Preller is absolutely on a bender because I think Preller knows that new ownership's going to come in at some point over the next year, and AJ Preller's way of doing business is probably
Nick Pavetta and Cronenworth are being shopped.
That's tough sells. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if the Giants want to play the Nick Pavetta, Jay Cronenworth game, then nothing has changed. Now they're just doing Moneyball with a little bit more money, and that's lame. How about we take the rivalry to heart around here? I very much appreciate the Vitello signing. That was something bold and brash and unique. Great. How about we take this rivalry to heart and actually play the same game as the Dodgers? Easier said than done. I'm not pretending as if that's not a huge challenge, but like, how about you try to keep up with the Joneses here a little bit, as opposed to, I guess we're just going to see what the Padres do, and maybe we can compete with the Cubs. No, you have the go-to, the lighthouse of baseball in your division. Try to keep up with them, and if you fail miserably, so be it, but at least you tried. But just trying to hold on to your little fiefdom that doesn't get you to the playoffs is lame. I mean, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, they have nothing. They're going nowhere. What about any of these arms? Give me a name of out of this group. You can have one. Who do you want? Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Michael King, Tatsuya Imai, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. According to John Morosi, he says the Giants are active on multiple free agent starters. While it does not appear that a deal is close, they are in good position to land one of the upper tier arms. Which of those guys do you want? I'll go Merrill Kelly, just because I only really care about durability and with these starters, and I think he's durable. So I'd go with Merrill Kelly on durability. The rest of those guys, I'm not. I don't know anything about the
King's the absolute nastiest. King when he's on is really, really good. So I'd go with him because I view it the exact opposite way.
Is he durable?
There's no such thing as a durable starter. One that's considered durable now is just building up potential energy for his UCL to break. It is required. It is required that you throw 95 miles per hour. That is beyond the sheer point of the human UCL in the elbow. So there is no such thing as a durable starter if you're competing at a major league level right now. Maybe Ranger Suarez with his slow as shit fastball can get by on it, but I don't want him. What I want is, I want the guys who have the highest end upside, and I want like 8 of them. That's what I want. So I would
say this: I would kill it with numbers. I would not. I wouldn't go for the top guy or even anything close to the top guy. I'd go for find me.
Just flood the zone.
I would say to Buster, hey, look, let's find 20 to 30 viable arms that we can stash on the 40-man, AAA, AA. Let's just have a bunch of options, and because I really think you got to kill it with numbers. Yeah. One last one, and then Harrison Bader. I don't know. I mean, he's a defensive player. He sounds like he's going to be overpaid. He's coming off a pretty good offensive year. Two last thoughts, and we'll bolt. Or one last thought, we'll bolt.
Sure.
I'm starting to get into my draft stuff,
nice.
And I'm just kind of wondering: are you finding some players that you're like, man, I'm in my gathering stage where I'm gathering prospects that I like. Some are day 1, some are day 2, some are day 3, some are undrafted. I got a couple guys that I really, really love.
Lay them on me.
And I love the Penn State defensive tackle, Zane Durant. And
yes, I've heard really good things about him.
He's undersized. He's about 285
He's
pounds.
A game wrecker, though.
But he's quick. He has got a lot of the same traits that Aaron Donald had. He is very quick, and he's unbelievable powerful. He's 309 pounds, he's 288 to 300 pounds in that range. But his quickness inside, if you played him next to an Alfred Collins, you'd be like, oh my God, Alfred Collins is taking up the space, and this guy is penetrating. He makes himself skinny through the hole. I mean, he's just really, really athletic. I love me some Zane Durant.
Yeah, I've that's a name that popped up a lot. I would say late September, early October, before Penn State's season just went. Some people in the community that I really trust made me write his name down.
Love
you're in
him.
good stead there.
I also really love Tyreek Sapp, who's a defensive end who's about 275 pounds for Florida. And this guy is just, I love the motor and the strength at the point. There's faster edge rushers than this guy. I think he's going to be a mid-round pick, but I love the upper body strength. He throws guys away. He makes plays. He's incredibly athletic. 275, carries his weight well. I really like him. And the third guy that I really love, and this guy's probably not going to get drafted. He may be a 7th round pick, but man, don't forget. I mean, I get the feeling that people are going to forget about this guy by the time the draft rolls around, because this guy just makes plays, and it's Dylan Bell, the wide receiver from Georgia.
Oh no, Dylan Bell.
Dylan Bell, the wide
receiver Chris
from
Bell.
Georgia. No, I'm talking about Dylan Bell, who is kind of built like Debo. He's got kind of a big lower half. He runs in the 4.5s.
There's also a Skylar Bell at UConn. Just a lot of bells.
Yeah, this is Dylan Bell from Georgia, receiver, who's going to run mediocre times, but man, he's a playmaker, and he just makes big plays. I think he's going to be an undrafted player or a late day 3 player, and I really think he's an NFL player of note. He's every time Georgia winds up in these big games, this guy makes plays. He's barely played at all this year. But I think he's definitely NFL. He's got an NFL size and speed. So those are just a couple of the guys that I really like. I also like a guard named Keelan Rutledge from Georgia Tech, who is just a brawler, tough guy.
Well, everybody at Georgia Tech's got to be a legit lunatic if you're going to play for Brent Key.
This guy's got some talent. And then there's a linebacker named Mac Harris who plays for South Florida.
I know Mac Harris.
And Mac Harris can fly around. He makes plays. So just a couple names that have jumped out to me. I mean, I like other guys as well. Caden McDonald and Gabe Yakis from Illinois. And
Gabe Yakis.
J.C. Davis, an offensive tackle from Illinois.
I'll throw 2 at you. You need to watch the Mizzou defensive ends, Damon Wilson and Zion Young.
I love Zion Young.
Zion Young's crazy. I think Damon Wilson is going to be a better pro. He's more in control. He's currently being sued by the University of Georgia. That's neither here nor there for reneging on an NIL deal. Wilson's 6'4", 6'5", 250. Young carries 265 really well. So
he does.
But the explosion. Really but he's also kind of a lunatic, right? He was good for 15 yards every game. Whereas Wilson was just steady and would get you. He's a great, strong side defensive end, even at that size, and got really good explosion while being capable of playing in the phone booth. I think both of them are 1st round worthy, frankly. I'm a little biased, but I think that Mizzou could have 2 1st-round defensive ends this year in a great defensive end class. Have you watched any Keldrick Falk yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love him.
Holy shit.
I mean, you're talking about a top 8 or 9 pick. I mean, he's going to be.
He's unbelievable. You don't
270 bats balls out of the air.
270 with crazy twitch and bend. Woo.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's really good. Someone's going to buy in, and it's either going to be the biggest bust in NFL draft history or the biggest boom.
Well, I don't know that there's tons of moves, but if you want that edge-setting presence that also, can bat down passes and give you more.
I think he's got a bag. I like his bag. Yeah. I don't think it's. Let me put it to you this way: I don't think he's as good at setting the edge as Michael was. I think Michael was incredible on that, but I think that his bag is further along than Michael's was. Though I do think he's much older than Michael already. So,
I kind of like Kenyatta Jackson from Ohio State. I thought his game against Michigan really was amazing. Now, I don't see that when I watch him earlier in the year, but he's a developmental guy. But man, you're talking about a guy with an exciting skill set with power and speed and length and talent. I mean, Buckeyes get some of these guys that are just like, oh my God, this guy's going to be something. He's got to be coached up. His name's Kenyatta Jackson.
Yeah, he's a good player. I'll give you one more here. This is a guy I ended up watching a lot of BYU this year for some reason.
Yeah, I did
really
too.
like the way that they play.
BYU almost every week except for this week.
Yeah, that was a good play. LJ Martin, their running back, I think is really, really good. I don't know where LJ Martin falls. He's a junior. He might come back. There's a lot of money to staying at BYU. I get all that. But if he comes out, LJ Martin he's just a beast. He's a monster. And they run a very pro style offense there. It's very easy. I mean, he can catch the ball so well. He runs really good routes, good pass pro, and then just a great in between and outside the tackles runner. I think LJ Martin is a absolute stud. You pull him in the second round, and you got a running back for the next 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones, but I've watched a lot of BYU's fun to watch. I mean,
They're really fun to watch.
They're a really good football team. All right, that is going to do it for us, except we have some supers, and we'll roll through them right now. And, of course,
Sweet.
Our supers are brought to you by our good friends at Habas Law, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right, habaslaw.com on the web. I love Habas Law. They're a great sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Habas Law for being a sponsor. Man, if you're injured and you want to win, there's only one call to make, and that's Habas Law. 1-800-INJURED. Visit habaslaw.com on the web. Habas Law, they will fight to make it right. And let's go to our supers. We got this one from Ernberg. Another great week of hate watching. Gotta love
That's
that.
my kind of super right there.
There you go. J.R. Madrano. Fun question. Whenever they are in a prime position to do so, which superstar do you see the Niners making an all-in move for? No quarterback. That's interesting. I'll say this. I went through the free agent market and just took a look at what I could picture them doing. And I think they're going to, I don't want to say they're going to sit out free agency, but I think they're going to do it very, very judiciously.
Yeah.
I agree with Matt Barrows. I think, the guy that I could totally see with the Niners is a guy that by mid-season next year, people will be like, how did you let the 49ers get that guy? And it's Kyle Pitts from Atlanta, who's been up and down. He was a great player in college, and he's 6'6", and he just never quite has been able to get it all going with the right quarterback and the health and everything. But Kyle Pitts in the Niners system would just be an absolute force of nature. And I think the 49ers, they had Jordan Reed for a short amount of time. And then Kyle had him in Washington. I think he would love to have that weapon that you could just add, and it would add a dynamic to the team. They've gone with Tonjes this year, and it's been fine. But Pitts obviously would be more pricey, but I also think he'd give you more. So I like Kyle Pitts. If there's other free agents I could see them going for, I would say Boye Mafe from Seattle, Cam Taylor-Britt, possibly a corner from the Bengals, maybe Zach Wilson as a reclamation project quarterback. But
I'll give you a name.
I don't see a lot of top tier free agents out there that. But I did look at the list. But go ahead. What do you got, Dieter?
Brian Thompson Jr.
Brian Thompson Jr.
Thomas, sorry. My goodness.
Oh, I was like, who is that?
I made up Brian Thompson Jr. I wanted to see if you were on your game. No, Brian Thomas.
I don't even know me, dude. I'm always thinking like,
it's 11:30 at night.
But I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Damn
I said it with such confidence, too.
Yeah,
That's the real problem.
This sounds like an
I
offensive
really thought
tackle
I was
from
delivering a
Appalachian
bomb
State.
there, and then really I just bombed my reputation. Brian Thomas.
No, but he's not a free agent.
I think they trade for him.
Ricky Pearsall?
No, I don't think it would be that. I think that they would bring him in addition. I think it's to the degree of Jacoby Myers has come into Jacksonville, and now suddenly Jacksonville can move the ball. And I guess Thomas sort of has done better sliding down a spot. But if you're looking for that X receiver so that you can move Pearsall around, you're probably going to lose Jennings. You don't have Ayuk. You're looking for that. You don't want to go back into the draft and try to find an X receiver. Kyle likes guys. You can probably buy low on this guy because I still don't think Liam Cohen likes him very much, and I still don't think Trevor trusts him at all. And the Jaguars, again, I think will keep Jacoby Myers around. Wouldn't shock me at all if Brian Thomas Jr. was traded this offseason and if the Niners weren't high on the list of teams making the call.
Dude, I would absolutely do cartwheels if they did that. That's a great addition. James Foster says, Bears have beaten one team with a winning record. How about that? Bears also have a negative point differential, and they got 9 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost unheard of. What is that? M Deal He
I think
says,
it's MD 1978.
oh, I got you. MD 1978. Thanks for the daily content, Larry. I'm a huge fan down here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Your show really makes me feel a part of this team, and your draft coverage is top notch. Thank you. Well, hey, let me just say this. I'm talking to a guy right here whose draft coverage is equally good. And
Told you about Kamani Vidal. I told you.
Right.
It's the only one who was talking Kamani Vidal.
That's right. Louisiana Tech, is that
we're talking Troy, my friend.
Troy,
the, Troy Trojans of the Sun Belt Conference.
I've been on that campus, if you can believe it or not.
I cannot believe that. As someone who covered the Sun Belt, I've been there, but no one else should go there.
Troy, Alabama. I scouted Al Lucas when Al Lucas was there, who went to the Arena League and ultimately died. Al Lucas was he was a hell of a football player.
What about Brian Thompson Jr.? Do you ever scout him?
Never. What? That's the other thing. People who fake it all the time. Like, it's like, yeah, man, I totally like. Thompson.
Brian Thompson.
It's like, yeah.
I appreciate you for that, Larry.
I'm the maniac. I'm the maniac who's like, wait a second, who is that? Who is that? Who is that?
I appreciate you because I would have been like, nope, don't have it. Nothing.
Stefan Niners says, drove from San Jose for the Pig in a Pickle event, made sure to tell Damon, and that's Damon Stainbrook, I would imagine, that Larry sent me. Larry's an awesome dude with awesome stories. Didn't know how he got into it with Jeff Kent. Also, shout out to the banana pudding. Girlfriend loved it.
Good shout out on the banana pudding.
Yes.
How did you get into it with Jeff Kent?
Did I ever tell you this story? So basically, you've heard this soundbite. You may have even played it.
I'm familiar with the soundbite.
So I walked up to Jeff Kent. He had left the Giants. He was with the Astros, and he was his first time coming in. So I walked into the clubhouse, 3:00 in the afternoon. There's 5 or 6 beat writers standing around Jeff Kent. He's looking right at me, and he sees me there, and he's looking right at me, and he's talking right to me, and everybody's recording it, including me. And he's like, "You people are so stupid." He's like, all you do, and he's looking right at me. He's like, all you do, and I did the post game show, so
Oh yeah, they love the post game.
All you do is bitch about the game. Enjoy the game more. All you do is sit around and bitch about the game. Enjoy the game more. So I'm just kind of laughing. Then I say nothing. He keeps going. He's like, you people here in the Bay Area are so stupid to pay these real estate prices, because obviously he just sold his home in the Bay Area, bought a place in Houston. Yeah. And so he's got a big spread in Houston. He's feeling good. So this was 3:00 in the afternoon. So he's done talking. I walked down to the bunker and I called back to the radio station. I said, tell Ralph and Tom that Kent just went off on a bunch of things and that I'm going to roll this back in right now and they got to play it. Tell Ralph he has to play this, whatever he's doing, stop what he's doing and play this. So then supposedly Ralph goes, Craig said, Tommy, that we need to play this audio. So he plays it and they play 3 or 4 sound bites. And now people are calling up and people are complaining about Jeff and no, screw Jeff and this and that. And Jeff, now it's game time. It's 7:15. Now batting in the 4th spot for the Houston Astros, second baseman Jeff Kent. Boo, boo, Kent, you suck. It's like people are going bananas.
Cumulus, the power of radio.
Yeah, summertime games. A lot of people driving to the game. They're listening to KNBR, so they're listening to KNBR. They heard Ralph and Tom. Ralph and Tom got fat ratings back in the day, dude. I'm talking about 10 shares, 11 shares, tons and tons and tons of people listening.
Podcasts, streams, nothing. You had Ralph and Tom,
had Ralph and Tom, and they were rolling. And so I go back in. There was a 3-night series. I was Monday night. Now it's Tuesday. I'm back in there in the clubhouse, and he sees me, and he goes, what? He goes, who's you, dude? You're the reason they booed me last night. And he's like kind of mad at me. And I'm like, dude, I'm not the reason. And so then I'm kind of a smart ass. So I take out the microphone. I'm like, see, Jeff, here's the microphone. See, if you talk through this end, nothing happens. But if you talk through this end, it records you. And then you have to own your words like adults. Oh my God. He grabs me like this with my shirt, kind of puts me up against the wall. I kind of grabbed him. We're kind of locked in a 2 men with 2 arms on each other. And I'm just like, dude. And then all of a sudden all these Astro people jumped in and separated us. And that was it. But he was pissed that his words didn't go viral, but basically essentially did, and he got hoisted on his own petard, and you know, he was bitter about it, and there you go. So
go wash your truck, Jeff.
And that was the other one. Jeff lied about washing his truck. I mean, he didn't wash his truck. He did wheelies, and he, you know, whatever.
At least Madison Bumgarner owned up to it after he got caught red-handed.
There you go. We got this one from Tommy, who says, "You think extra attention was paid figuring out the Pearsall Purdy connection?"
Presume this is during the bye week, and I presume yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Purdy to Pearsall has the potential to be prolific. Say that a bunch 5 times fast.
Dieter, that's my name. Dieter. Oh, okay.
Dattin. Dieter's article on Kuminga is fire. Check it out. What was your consensus on Kuminga? Are they going to trade Kuminga?
Same shit, different day with Jonathan Kuminga.
The Warriors. I'm boycotting the Warriors. I will not.
I wish I could.
I will not watch it. I will not watch it because it's just they did nothing in the offseason. They're eroding from within. The owner thinks he's 10 times smarter than God. He literally woke up on third base and thought he hit a triple. He bought a team that had Steph Curry and then thought he was the reason they won titles. He's a massive egomaniac. He's a self-made billionaire, and there's reasons to respect Joe Lacob. But don't tell me you're great because of what's happened to this point. Show me you're great from what happens from this point. And what happens from this point, in my opinion, will define how I see Joe Lacob. If they win titles and hang banners going forward, then wow, Joe Lacob is light years ahead of everybody else. If they don't, then he isn't, and he probably shouldn't have ran his mouth.
Never forget that when he bought the Warriors for an absolute song, he also bought the contract of Wardell Stephen Curry.
Right. And he's drafted Justinian Jessup and Alan Smiley-Geach and empowered his kids in the front office and tried to pretend he ran out, Jerry West, Bob Myers, Travis Schlenk, Don Nelson, Larry Riley for Kirk and Kent Lacob. I wonder where their genius personnel-wise came from. And then they've proceeded to make kind of questionable decisions. And I think they're wasting Steph's, the twilight of his prime. And once again, you want to tell me you're a genius? You leveraged everything to buy the team, build the arena, but you also had KD and Steph and great coaches. Let's see you do it from scratch.
It's okay, though. They held on to Kuminga so long, he's worth nothing now. So that's good.
Seriously. How to devalue an asset by Joe.
They could write that book right now.
Unbelievable.
Please check out the article. It's on the Mercury News website, and you can read that from my Twitter.
Is there a conclusion that you're saying trade him, keep him?
Oh, I mean, I've written so many of these goddamn things by now that there's no conclusion. It's just simply, Kerr's done. Kerr's done. I got a good call last night. It wasn't from Steve, but Kerr's done. He's
fired.
No. Like, ironically, the Warriors should have made a decision about a year ago on if it was Steve or Kuminga. And instead because they clearly can't operate. They can't operate together. And they're both, try to do the nice thing but they can't operate together. So that, any rational team takes the 4-time champion head coach and tells Jonathan Kuminga, who's never won anything, to kick rocks. But instead they tried to keep, maybe they can figure it out. We can solve the problem. We can make it work. And it's just gotten worse. And Kuminga's, I'll just say it. Kuminga's a loser. He has all the talent in the world. He is not appreciably better than he was when he was 20. He's headstrong to a fault. And maybe he can go be the best player on a shitty basketball team. And maybe that team could be the Golden State Warriors one day. But the fact that the Warriors have held on this long is an indictment on their decision-making and their inability to recognize that winning is far more important than talent. And while, yes, there's talent involved in winning, Jonathan Kuminga hasn't won shit, and he'll never win shit. And the Warriors are going down with him. They can't get jack squat for him right now because they DNP'd him last night. And he needs a huge, big contract so he could be the second coming of Kobe Bryant. They can't get squat. and they had good offers on the table, and they said, we're not going to, this summer, they go, we're not going to do that. We need a great offer for Jonathan Kuminga. And now they'd be lucky if they can sneak him into a 5-team mega trade deal as a make weight.
What's the end game? Where's he? When
He's
does he get moved?
He's getting traded. He's getting traded as soon as January 15th happens. And the only good counter argument, Sacramento probably. Probably DeMar or some bullshit that comes back. Some bad money the other way.
I heard they're going to move Butler and trying to move Butler in a deal for Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis is not coming to the Bay. Okay. They'll try. That doesn't mean it's going to happen.
All right.
Giannis is going to the Knicks.
Stefan says take Cassius Howell for some pass rush.
That's a good idea.
I like him. He's got short arms, but I like him. He gets it done. Clarence Beek says vote our boys in, y'all. Pro Bowl. I don't
do that.
I don't respond well to y'all.
I love y'all. I don't respond well to the Pro Bowl. Y'all
get juice into the Pro Bowl.
Y'all want to vote these guys in so that they could go play a game in Moscone Center on a Tuesday night, a flag football game. You go right ahead.
Yeah, there is no Pro Bowl. Lander Film says, was at the Philly-LA game tonight. Whoa, the Birds look slow. How many more wins do they have? Yeah, seriously.
That's a good question. Hold on. Let me pull up their schedule real fast, and then I'll answer it acutely.
They got problems.
They got real issues. They play the Raiders, the Commanders, the Bills, and the Commanders. I'm going to say they have 2.
I think they'll go 3-1. They'll lose to the Bills. They'll beat the Commanders. They'll beat the Raiders. The Raiders are beaten at the anthem. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Habas Law, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle. Thanks to Dieter. Thanks to all of you. Dieter, I'll give you the final word. We appreciate these streams. Lots of people in the Krug meet and greet yesterday in Corte Madera came up and said, Dieter is my favorite live stream of the week.
Oh, you got to watch more live streams.
Yeah, seriously.
You got to up those numbers. Those are rookie numbers.
But no, Dieter's excellent. That's why we do this regularly. But go ahead, Dieter. I'll give you the final word before we bolt.
Never wrong, just early.
On that note, thanks for watching the Krug Show. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get